Hello, is anybody there? Can you all hear me? Am I making any kind of effect? This is all new to me, this live shit. So my apologies if it's all a bit messed up, but here I am. Hello, is anybody there? Ooh. Hello, what's your name? Should have bought my glasses, shouldn't I? Jambalee. Peace. Charles, how you doing, mate? Nye O'Neill, you're all welcome. Come on in. Come on in and put your feet up. Come on, let's do a live. Oh, we got a few more coming in. About time I did this, says Ben. Well, I tried it a few times over the last few weeks, and I'll tell you what, glitches. I've got this old desktop computer, and I'm now using a laptop. So I just thought I just got tired of trying to use all the technical stuff from that piece of crap that sits on my coffee table. What's this? Still awaiting them stateside stories, Joe. What stateside stories would you like to hear about? I've got to be honest, I didn't attend much live boxing in America, which is a regret. The first time I went over there, right, I'll tell you a little story. This is a little story. I was in New York. First time I ever been to the States. It was in 1996. And it was coming up to the weekend of the first Bo Galata fight, and I thought I'm going to go to that because it was in New York. And then I suddenly realised that my flight home was the same day as the fight, and unless I'm mistaken, that was the one where they had the riot afterwards, wasn't it? Yeah, probably just as well I didn't make it, innit? But I basically went up and down the state. New York State. I went all the way up to Buffalo, and I was going to go over into Montreal and just to sort of visit Canada, which I've never been to. And I ran out of money. The days of extreme poverty, I'm afraid. What we got here, says Ben. We don't watch you for your production values. We watch for some of the best and most authentic boxing content going. Thank you very much. I don't have any production values, mate. I honestly don't. The most editing I do is hitting play and stop. But like I say, when I started this channel, it was just a little side gig, like I think I've told you this before, but I was very unwell, and it was affecting me mentally. Physically unwell, I was in a lot of pain, so it was affecting me mentally. I thought I've got to have something to keep my mind occupied, so I started the channel, and it's worked. Come on, Canada, CDN Boxing Hub, yeah, good man. Yeah, keep going. I hope you're okay, mate. Good card overall tomorrow. Brenham Smith and Glanton. Do you know what? The closer it gets, I'm thinking Glanton's got a better chance than I initially gave him credit for. I'm curious to see whether Billum Smith can survive that massive wallop that he took off Ramirez. But we will see. We will see. Tyson versus Lewis, your verdict, Joe. What are you talking? What are you talking? Tyson Fury versus Lewis? What are you talking about? Salute to G-Man. Yay, G-Man, always welcome. Big supporter of this channel when it first started. Always appreciated, never forgotten. And a top man is G-Man. We'll have the channel. Thank you, Tom. Straight back at you, mate. Best wishes from Sydney. Come on, Eubank. Boxing Monkey. All the best to the Aussies. Why are you picking Eubank, Boxing Monkey? Why are you picking you? Do you not like Ben? Do you not like ped cheats? Do you not like this? Do you not like that? I haven't got a horse in the race. I think it might be a better fight than I gave it credit for. And the weight thing really does that. It all rests on the weight for me. What's going to happen there. Ben McGrath again. I thought Eubank looked awful on the scales. I agree. He looks like a ghost. I know. I now think Conor Benn has a real chance. I tend to agree with you. The explosiveness of Ben, especially at a higher weight, a natural weight, because I think he's probably, I don't think he'll go back down to welterweight. I think he'll stick at 154. Yeah, I'm beginning to think I might have got that one wrong because I said Eubank on points, but I didn't say that with any confidence. And now I'm thinking, I'm leaning towards Ben. Hello, Joe Stunner. Hello to you, sir. Does Aaron McKenna beat Beefy Smith? Tennis ball head. I've got a feeling Smith might edge McKenna, but it depends what he's got left because he's long in the tooth. I think he's about 37 now. I understand why McKenna is a favourite, younger, fresher. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go for Smith, but this is what's fascinating about these fights tomorrow is that they're not. You can't really predict them, can you? They're very, very difficult to predict. Try and make sure I haven't missed any comments. Yard's going to look worse than his last fight, says Jordan Perry. Yeah, he's a total enigma, Yard. Good fighter, all the materials to be a good fighter, but his career has been very strangely managed. I think we can thank Tunde for that. Oh, I've got myself a little €5.99. Thank you, G-Man. Much love. I'm actually going on holiday in the early hours of Sunday. I'm going to Albania, so that £6 will come in handy. Good man. Thank you, G-Man. Yes, much, much appreciated. What have we got here? 154 is too dangerous for Ben. What, you mean the opposition? Is that what you're asking or stating? Are we reading? Henry says, are we reading too much into the weight when Eubank made 160 a few months ago and looked good? He was very tight, though. Well, against Zerameta, did he look good? He looked perfunctory, he looked decent. Certainly struggled. He's always going to struggle at 160. A 35-year-old still making 160, which he made as a teenager, and now, as an older man, I know from experience, you can take a lot of weight off when you're young, but you can't when you're older. Eubank gets fined $500K for being 22 grams over fight weight, says Boxing Monkey. Mike Tyson gets fined $3 million for biting Evander Holyfield's ear off. I can see that. Yeah. Ben McGrath, do you read boxing biographies? Yes, I've read many of them, including Nigel Ben's, Chris Eubank Sr.'s. The last one I read was on Jimmy Wilde, the great flyweight fighter from over 100 years ago. Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Very, very good ones out there. Jamie Albrecht. Hello, Joe. Big fan and mate of Candor Bob. Would love to do a video with you both. Yeah, I'm up for that. I'll talk to anyone. Much love to you. Just give me a shout. G-Man. Joe's done a crossover show. Yeah, we've done a few, me and G-Man. He's very kindly invited me on his channel. I'd say the first few hundred subscribers I picked up were courtesy of G-Man's help, but I'm always up for a little panel show, whatever you want to call it. What else we got? Why Albania? Joe looking for a new wife. I've never been there before. I'm going to Tirana. It's weird because a friend of mine, she went there with her little lad earlier in the year, and I didn't even know she'd booked tickets, and I'd booked tickets. So I said, well, you can give me a little sort of TripAdvisor summary of what it's like, and she speaks highly of it, What else we got? Do you see a war or a messy fight for the main event? Bit of both. Bit of a war, bit of scuffling, all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I think, it's such a difficult fight to predict. I think there'll be enough to keep us entertained, put it that way, the sheer drama of it. But I can see a lot of roughhousing, and certainly if Ben gets up close, which I expect him to at various points, Eubank will probably tie him up and wrestle him and try and use the extra weight. Because let's not forget, he's going to be stone 16 pounds heavier when he gets in the ring with him. Enjoy Albania. Was there in January. Really enjoyed it, says Nye. Yeah, cheers, mate. I've heard good things. Looks nice in pictures, so we'll see how it goes. The Tavern. Nice one, mate. Always appreciate the support. JD05. Eubank Jr. should win because of his weight and experience advantage, but if Ben catches Eubank on the chin, Eubank will get rocked and then dropped. Yeah, it could be like the Liam Smith fight. Yeah, Ben is very explosive, very explosive. But against the two fights he had against the Mexican fella and the American whose name escapes me, he was getting clipped. As the fight goes on, he seems to get clipped more, probably because a little bit of speed and dynamism goes out of him. But can Eubank take advantage of it? Or is he just going to be a shell of himself? What we got here? Red Pill Medicine. Great to see you, Joe. I love the channel. I recommend Rocky Marciano book. Yeah. Have I read that one? Or there's been several, haven't there? I don't think I've read that one, but I'll put it on the list. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Jordan Perry, it's crazy to see Gareth A. Davies get so much airtime. Well, you know, he is a great friend of the channel, as you know. I actually quite like him, Gareth. I know I make fun of him, but I mean, he's like the kid that desperately wants to be one of the cool kids. And there was this hilarious article of him sitting on his big Kawasaki motorbike, probably from the 80s, I suppose, big fucking thing, and with his shades on and his, you know, his Bono hair, and he looked like such a plank. And yet at the same time, I kind of like the guy. I do kind of like him. I think he's all right. But I'd love to have him on the channel with me doing my sort of grotesque piss take and him, the real Gareth, being there. That'd be so funny. What have we got here? Anyway, because of his weight, locked and then dropped. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why is the reason why you don't like R&B music? What is it? Well, R&B when I was a kid was called rhythm and blues, which was real gritty bluesy stuff, which I like. But R&B by the time we got to the 80s was all, I don't know, Whitney Houston-esque and lots of sort of vocal masturbation, and all the songs sounded so they sounded pretty similar to me. But then the music I like, a lot of people say that sounds very similar. So it's all a matter of taste, isn't it? I'm not saying I'm right and they're wrong. It's all there to be enjoyed. Boxing Monkey just finished Reg Guttridge biography. I haven't read that one either. Yeah, I imagine that would be good. I should have read that because obviously Reg had passed away a long time ago, and he knew his boxing. Reg did. Quite an interesting story as well. Quite an interesting backstory with Reg, because he was in the Second World War, and he was during, I think it was the Normandy landings, and he had his leg blown off, which obviously ended his career. Fortunately, he didn't end his life, but he did know his stuff. And I grew up listening to Reg Guttridge, and Harry Carpenter was on the BBC. Reg was on ITV, and I liked Reg with Jim Watt. I like that duo. It's probably my favourite commentary duo of all time. British ones, anyway. Where are you based in London? I'm not in London at the moment. I'm in Peterborough. I haven't lived in London for a long while actually, but I still get down there a lot because jump on the train and 50 minutes later you're in London. I'm originally from North London, but when I was still a kid, I moved and lived in South London. I lived in Tulse Hill, and North London, anything going all the way up to Luton. You know, from North London to Luton, I know all that area very, very well. What have we got here? We don't want to miss anyone out. Let me have a look. Just bear with me a second because I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Are we getting too excited? This is Ben again. Are we getting too excited about two fighters who aren't world class and will never win world titles? A good fight is a good fight. I grew up, because I didn't have the money to go to the big shows, or I had been to big shows, but not a lot of them. I used to do the small hall circuit all the time because it was the only thing I could afford. And you saw some great lower level fights, domestic level fights, area level fights. If it's a good fight, I'll watch it. It don't bother me. It don't have to be for world title. World titles nowadays, I mean, they're kind of two a penny almost. And to me, it's the quality. Like I always say, Adrian Broner is a 4-weight world champion. Really? Won 4 belts. Was he ever really a world champion in any one division? Was he the best of the best? Ah, man. What do you make of Hearn's smugness today? Asked Rob Marr. Do you think Junior will be drained tomorrow after 2 weigh-ins? There's a distinct possibility he'll be drained, yes. especially with the rehydration clause. It is. I think it's dangerous, to be honest with you. Hearn smugness. What's new? What's new? He's an Essex boy. He's got that Essex boy patter. You know. Nah. Hearn. Mr. Banter. That's Hearn, isn't it? Most of it's crushingly unfunny. What else we got? Love your historical videos, Joe. Still waiting for the Sonny Liston career review. Yeah, I'll do one. Because I like Sonny Liston. I think he's actually underrated. It's weird because I was having my hair cut today. I was in the barber's and I'm sitting there and there's a picture on the wall of the famous picture of Ali standing over Liston. You know, that first round knockout with Liston splayed out on the canvas. And I thought that image does Sonny such an injustice because, all right, you can talk about him throwing the fight and everything, all that stuff. But he was a great fighter, Liston, a great fighter. And yet people remember him for supposedly rolling over against Ali. If you want to see a good Liston biography video, go and watch Canada Boxing. Bob over at Canada Boxing, he did a terrific video. He does a lot of great historical videos, and give him a sub. Canada's Boxing channel, really nice bloke, and a really good channel as well. Well, there we go. Good evening, Joe. Videos are great. Keep them coming, says Peter Johnson. I will, sir. Thank you for the kind words. Congrats on the 6K subs, says JD05. I remember when you had 1K subs 2 years ago, and whenever it was. Yeah, I know, mate. I remember when I had 100, and I was pleased. I was like, wow, I've got 100 subs. Lord Barrington, sir. Always enjoy your insights, Joe. Keep them coming. Keep them going. Yeah, I will, mate. No worries. Historical boxing expert, Joe? What, me or Gareth A. Davies, says Charles? I don't know. I'm not an expert, I'm just a fan, really. There's an argument, says Jubus Merker. There's an argument that could be made that Eubank Jr. is better than his father at this age of his career. No, definitely not for me. No. Essence lost concerns for Eubank's health due to the dehydration, leaving him susceptible to a neurological injury. 100% agree. 100% agree. In case you don't know, when you're weight drained, the fluid from the brain is drained off, and essentially your brain is like a coin in a box rattling around. And of course, the tissue is soft, and if it hits the side of the skull, it can split, bleed. That's how you get brain injuries. Extremely dangerous. Fingers crossed nothing happens. I do think AJ14. I do think Junior wants everyone to think he will be drained or weakened. All the videos of him sweating down, etc., will be released on his Instagram. Yeah, I know. Is he pulling a fast one? I don't think so. I think he genuinely miscalculated the weight. This isn't a Ryan Garcia situation where he came in, was it 2 or 3 pounds overweight? He didn't even make an effort. I think Eubank did, because he is a money guy. I don't want to give up $500,000. Even by his standards, that's a lot of money. Even if you're getting 10 million, whatever it is, that's a lot of dough. So no. What we got here? Boxing Monkey, well done, mate. You are the hardest working boxing YouTuber out there. 3 videos a day, every day. Yeah, I'll try and do a couple a day. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that when I go abroad. I'm going on Sunday morning, like I said, but I'll take I'll do a few when I'm abroad. No worries. They'll probably be the aftermath of tomorrow night's show. And I'll try and get my reviews out before I leave as well. Lord Barrington, as if Team Eubank wouldn't have been as equally smug has the shoe been on the other foot. Yeah, no doubt about it. Ben Shalom, enough said. strange cat, Ben Shalom. Hi from Sydney, Joe. Enjoy your channel, says Glenn R. You're right. Yeah, love it. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All the way from Sydney. It's really great because I've got people who follow the channel from Australia, from America, like Mexican guys, Japanese. Fucking marvelous. You know, it's great stuff. Okay, what we got? Let's have a look. What have we got? I hate missing out things. Where are we? Shame that Ben, the drug cheat, gets a chance to earn millions from this fight and the rematch. Unfortunately, boxing is a very corrupt sport, says Marco Rossi. Yeah, I mean, I did something. I did a little video this afternoon talking about, you get what you negotiate, you don't get what you deserve, and it's a fact now that Eubank has been fined a total of what is it now, £475,000, whereas There you go. You know, Ben failed 2 PED tests. Has never had to fork out a penny. Not in fines anyway. I really hope there isn't a live gig before the main event because it will drag till about 10:30. Card starts early, only 5 fights. Yeah. Here's Lee at Inside the Distance. Hello, Lee. I know you're a bit unwell, mate. I'm glad you're still breathing. Take it easy. By the way, everyone, Lee Inside the Distance Boxing. Go give him a sub. He's a great guy, absolute gentleman, and it's a terrific channel. He doesn't make that many videos, but when he does, very, very insightful. And he's unwell at the moment, so go and cheer him up by giving him a sub. Go on. Reese Cooper. Now, surely not Jordan, the one who this guy stood on top of the box with the words, just kept going on and on. So what does that refer to? Maybe I missed a comment there. Charles, other sports you're into, Joe? I used to really like football. I was crap when I played it. They used to stick me in goal because I wasn't scared of taking a few lumps, but I wasn't very good outfield. I was a tall, very gangly kid. I just had no skill. But I did follow football until the whole thing just became a sort of what Roy Keane called, the prawn sandwich brigade. I hate the culture around it now. I hate the fact, to me, I sort of started to check out when diving became a tactic. Because when I was a kid, if you dived on the pitch, your own fans would take the piss. Now it's considered, I won a penalty, all that shit. I hate that. And they're just a bunch of pussies trying to win penalties and free kicks and the money involved and the fact that, British clubs aren't even owned by, they're not even British anymore. The club because I'm from North London, I was an Arsenal fan, owned by an American, basically, Russian involvement in the past. Liverpool, what are they owned by Americans? Arabs own Man City. United owned by Americans. Man United, nah, fuck that. When I was a kid, it used to be a cultural thing, very much working class, cheap to go to. I used to go to Highbury and stand on the terraces. Then they had the all-seater stadiums following the Bradford fire. Yeah, but football died for me. I do like the odd occasional game. I just don't really follow it anymore. I mean, I watched the Man United comeback game. What was it, last week or earlier this week? Where they were like 4-2 down with 6 minutes to go and ended up winning 5-4. That's fucking amazing. So yeah, I like football. I like a bit of tennis, but again, I don't really follow it. Good game of tennis. Glenn R, as an Australian, I can tell you there's virtually no interest in the Ben Eubank fight. Yeah, it was always going to be a domestic level thing. We're obsessed with it because of the names. No one else really cares because they're not really two world-class fighters. Maybe Eubank was or still is, perhaps. Fantasy fight, says Jordan Perry. Nigel Benn versus Janibek at 160. Probably Ben. Go for Ben. Yeah, 160. Ben was better at 168, even though he was a small man. He was stockier. I don't know. 160, Janibek. Yeah, I'll go for Ben. I love Ben. One of my favourites. Followed him from start to finish. Who we got here then? Boxing Monkey. Hit the like button. We need more of these. Yes, please hit the like button. Wherever I don't even see the like button on my laptop. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. 60. Oh, what have we got? 36. Yeah, go on, lads. Hit the like button because they count. I don't know why they count them, but they do. Thank you very much, Boxing Monkey. Jim Neversink. Greetings from Denmark. There you go. Thank you, Jim. I've been to Denmark, Copenhagen, great city. Thank you for your hard work, expert analysis. You are more than welcome. It's great fun doing these videos. We've got Big Chief. What measures would you take to improve fighter safety regarding rehydration clauses and catch weights? I feel that promoters are severely abusing the rules here, and it's extremely irresponsible. Well, I would ban rehydration clauses. I hate them. By the way, Ben Eubank was a catch weight originally at 157. It's now at 160, so it's not a catch weight. It's a middleweight fight. Catch weights are when you sort of meet in the middle. And that's why Eubank originally said, all right, I'll go down at 157. Just when you think about it, it's just as well that fight didn't go ahead because Eubank at 157, even 3 years ago, Christ, that would be awful. Ben But you're right, Big Chief, it is irresponsible, and I do not like it. I do not like it. Hit the like button, people, says Charles. Yay. Good day from Tasmania, from Jethro. Hello, mate. Hello, mate. How are you? Woo. Tasmania. Fucking hell. Triple B Boxing TV. Keep up the good work, Joe. Thank you, sir. Much love to you. Rob Marr. Surely they could have allowed Junior another 10 minutes to shed £0.05. $500,000 seems extreme for over half an ounce. Yeah. Ben Shalom was interviewed and he said that the needle or the digital thing was flickering between 160 and half an ounce over. Yeah. Eubank said he asked if he could go and urinate, and they said no, because he was an hour late. Allegedly, he was stuck in traffic. I don't know the details. I mean, I'm going by what's been said. They said, no, you had your chance, and they kind of lost patience with him, for which he is claiming some sort of skullduggery, which may or may not be true. I don't know. If Eubank and his team, Eddie Hills, this is Eddie Hills, surely not the Eddie Hills. Get your fist up. If Eubank and his team aren't concerned about his health, should we be? Well, yeah. Even if I don't want to see any fighter hurt, but for the good of the sport, I think we have to be concerned, because any injury is, apart from but don't forget, an injury to a fighter affects his whole family and everything, and they're innocent parties, but also the sport itself gets damaged. Yes, what have we got now? Reese Cooper, I think they should ban rehydration clauses. I totally agree with you, Reese. Totally agree, mate. Jubas Merker said, would you consider Nigel Burn an all-time great in his weight category? At 168, he won a title in Italy, and he made, I think, 8 defenses, eventually losing it to Sugarboy Malinga. And there are quite a lot of people in the Hall of Fame who have less resume than Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, Senior, actually. But the Hall of Fame is very sort of American-centric. I think Nigel is an all-time great super middle. Yeah, I do. I think his record is very good. He had a couple of gimmies, but I mean, just for the McClellan fight alone, that was the most astonishing. That remains the best fight I've ever seen, ever. I almost had a heart attack watching that. Tom Zabli. Have a cracking time, mate. I will. Thank you very much, sir. Alex Fella, Eubank is stupid for taking the fight at 160, struggling so much. It could be very dangerous. Weight divisions exist for a reason. There can't be any excuses from Ben. Yes, I agree. Yeah. It'll be a shame if this fight is decided on the weight, won't it? A weight thing. Do you think that would tarnish Ben's victory if Eubank came in like skeletal, looking like a heroin addict, and then just got ironed out by Ben? Would it be the real Chris Eubank Jr. that's been beaten? I don't know, mate. Oh, have we got hit the like button and subscribe, says the tavern. Yeah, go on. It makes sense. Charles, don't get too sun-kissed, Joe. Yeah, the weather over there is pretty nice. I've looked at the weather. Yeah, it's quite hot. But like I said, I've never been to Albania before. I know a few Albanian lads that work the doors in this area, and they're nice fellas. I think they have extracurricular activities, shall we say, but they're not bad lads. What we got here? Joe, I clicked on a dodgy stream to watch the Whittaker fight last week, and now I have pop-up ads telling me MILFs in Aberdeen want to meet me. What are you waiting for, mate? Get stuck in. Yeah, get yourself what do they call those things? That protective computer. What do they call that shit? You can download them for free. Some of them anyway. Ross Kemp on your Momo one. The wife's tablet, please help. What? What does that mean? Sounds a bit controversial. Marco Rossi. Talking of Ben Shalom, do you know how he got into boxing? He seems to have come into boxing from out of the blue. He comes from a very wealthy Jewish background, I've heard. So I've read anyway. And boxing was his gig. And initially he was funded, I believe, by his father, who is very wealthy, and he started with the boxer tournaments, which you remember the old prize fighter matchroom things that used to be on Sky. He started with those, and they were quite successful. And yeah, I think from there he just managed to sell himself and his organisation to Sky when Hearn left. I always thought that was a real gamble because he was very experienced and very young. Uh, you know, and there have been some good shows. There have been some good boxer shows, but they've been few and far between. And when you consider how much great boxing there was when Hearn and Matchroom with Sky, I mean, every week we had something. I went to so many of those, like in person. I went to some of those Next Generation shows. The York Hall. There was one came to Peterborough. There's a venue in Peterborough. I watched that. And it was great because the fighters that I saw live are now the major fighters, like Conor Benn. I saw Conor Benn a few times. Lawrence Okoli I saw live. Yeah, it was great. But those Next Gen shows were really, really good. I miss those. Talking of Ben Shalom, oh, we got that one. Yeah, Jordan Perry. I can see some controversy, and we get a rematch September, October time. Could be. What do we got here? Let me find the next one. Glad to see you on YouTube, says Fozzie. Thank you very much for turning up, mate. I appreciate that. Dan Grimshaw, absolute nonsense, all this carry on about the weight. If they weren't happy with it, I don't sign for the contest. Simple as that. Yeah, if once you sign the bit of paper and, take the Queen's shilling, so to speak, or the King's shilling, you can't complain. I think Eubank is a money man. He had those, pound signs going through his eyes like a out of control slot machine. So yeah, man. Joe, Rob Marley says you summed up Hearn so well. Don't know about you, but I'm finding Eddie and Connor very unlikable. Well, for me, Hearn can be summed up like this. Okay, I've read his biography. Someone mentioned biographies earlier. It's called Relentless, but he has revealed a lot about himself also because he is quite vain and a bit of a narcissist. And he said that when he was a teenager, he would sell windows, essentially double glazing to people by cold calling them. Now, I remember this. It was in the 1980s. This started in the 1980s anyway, early 80s. People would phone you up randomly, wanted to sell you all sorts of shit, usually double glazing. And very often they would con pensioners, older people, out of their savings. Well, it'll be this, it'll be that. Now, the lady who lived next door to me when I was living with my mum, this is in 1985, maybe mid-80s. It cost her 1,400 quid for these windows, which she didn't even really want. It's just that the bloke came, he either phoned her or then he came round, knocked on the door, and he was charming and smarming her. And Hearn used to do this. So he probably has no qualms about doing such a thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't imagine he's a very good person. I also have heard through the grapevine from several sources that at DAZN, Frank Warren is very approachable, weirdly enough. But Hearn, unless you're involved with Matchroom, you're one of the Matchroom crew, he's kind of standoffish. He'll give interviews to YouTubers with cameras because it pumps up Matchroom. But if you just want to say, all right, Eddie, how you doing? Have a little chat with him, he's like, yeah. Whereas Frank Warren is very, very approachable, which is surprising when you consider how bullish Frank can be when he makes the videos. Whereas Eddie's like, oh, look at me, I'm everyone's mate. Oh, Eddie. Right. Peter Johnson, do you feel the board should ban rehydration clauses? Yes. If you need one to make a fight more even, should the fight even be happening? The evidence is that it's dangerous. I absolutely agree with you, Peter. Totally, mate. Totally agree. Stephen McM, who wins on the road bench? Oh, on the bench along or Eddie? Eddie's bigger, isn't he? He's about 6'4", 6'5". Works out. He's quite fit. Ben, I don't imagine Ben's ever had a row in his life. I don't imagine Eddie has, really. But Eddie's bigger, so I'll expect him to put Ben in the attic. Simon Bird, great to see you do a live stream. Hello, Simon, long time subscriber. Much love to you. JD05, thoughts on Islam? Oh, we're getting controversial now. I'm not religious. I have thoughts. I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible and the Torah, which is essentially the Old Testament. Yeah, I'm not religious at all. I think the amount of damage that has been done by religion throughout history is clearly visible. But on the other hand, I've met some really lovely religious people, Muslims, Christians, Jews. It don't bother me what they are. Let them get on with it. That's their business. But when it's enforced on other people, I obviously object. Freedom of religion, yes, absolutely, but freedom from it too. That is my view. Boxing Monkey, what was your favourite Arsenal team? 79 FA Cup, Irish team, or Arsene Wenger French team? Very different teams, very different eras. 79 FA Cup final, Alan Sunderland's winning goal, yeah, fantastic. What would I have been then? I don't know. I'd have been 11 going on 12. Yeah, what a great match that was. Wenger's French team was brilliant. It's a shame they didn't win the European Cup. They could have done against Barcelona. Remember when Thierry Henry was through and just had the keeper to beat? Could have made it 2-1. But that was a great team, the Unbeatables. But I like Terry Neal's lot as well. 3 consecutive FA Cup finals, losing to, what was it, Ipswich in 78, and in 80 they lost to West Ham. Yeah. Rob Marr. Nigel Benn's sparring stories make me laugh. My Charlie Big Potato son bashing up light heavies. Yet he still needs that all the important rehydration clause against a 35-year-old middleweight. Yeah, I know. I'll tell you about Nigel Benn though. When I worked in Charterhouse Street near Holborn, Chancery Lane, near Chancery Lane, and this was been 87 maybe, and I heard that Nigel Benn had been sparring Roberta Duran in a gym which was within walking distance of where I was working, and I missed it. Fucking missed it. God, I was so pissed off when I heard that. I could have gone in my lunch hour to watch it. I was working for De Beers Diamonds at the time, but I could have made an excuse. Oh, I'm feeling ill. I'm pissing off. Go down the gym and watch Nigel Benn spar Roberta Duran. Fucking hell, what a memory that would have been. Anyway. Top Man Joe says, Edda, hello, Edda. Long-time subscriber. Eda. Is it Eda or Edda? Eda. Thank you for joining me. Julia. Hi, Joe. Just come on looking for the usual catch-up from you via your podcast, and you're doing a live stream. Nice. Hello, Julia. Lovely to have you here. Thank you very much for your support. We got here, Dia 198301. I wonder if those numbers have any meaning. Is that your birthday? No, it can't be your birthday. You got the live going, tech bro, Joe. Not really, mate. Not really. Watching, listening whilst taking the dogs naturally. Yeah. All cool. But yeah, like I say, I had this problem. I've got this ancient fucking iMac that sits on my. I originally had it for when I used to do music. I haven't really made any music for 15. Well, no, not that long. About 10 years. But I used to do a lot of editing on it for videos and stuff, and now it's just derelict. So old it might as well run on Steam, really. Who we got? Texas Red. Who do you think would win between Nigel Benn, James Toney? James Toney all day long. I love Nigel, but James Toney, no. There was talk of them fighting, and after Nigel beat Gerald McClellan, there was talk of him fighting Roy Jones, and Nigel was open. He said, Roy Jones is brilliant. I'll have to really go some to beat him. But it's a shame that never happened. What else we got? Rob Marr, what do you make of Eubank Senior publicly calling his son a disgrace? I think he's at a dark place, Senior. He's lost one son. I'm not a parent myself, but you should never outlive your kids. He's probably worried. I don't know. Maybe. I imagine Eubank Senior is a bit of a control freak, and since Junior's decided he wants to do his own thing, that probably put his nose out of joint a bit. But calling your son a disgrace, I do believe that really, you should wash your dirty laundry, and you shouldn't wash it in public. Do it privately. We've all families have issues. We all do. Yeah. Henry Armstrong, Nigel Benn, Defo all time great. Yeah, at super middle, yeah, I'd say so. Alex Feller, I have a feeling it will come down to the weight. The bad thing is you can't even put the full blame on Ben as Eubank signed the contract. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Jubas Merker, do you watch much sports, boxing, betting? No, I bet occasionally. Little drips and drabs, fivers and tenors, nothing big. I like the accumulators, they're good fun. Choose 3 or 4 fights. But I never expect I do win. I probably win a little bit more than I lose, although the last month hasn't been good. But it's just pin money, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Essence lost. I don't think it was the dodgy stream, brother. What do you mean with dodgy stream? Oh, I see. Yeah. We refer to something else. Yeah. Simon Bird. Haha. I was once accused of being a heroin addict by a lady at Sainsbury's. Why Sainsbury's? Is that a smackhead's favourite gaff? I don't know. It's a funny one. Right, let me find out, sir. Where are we? I've lost my place. Oh shit! This bloody thing keeps shooting up and down. Okay. Oh, Canada's boxing channel. Looks like it's working fine. Best from the beach. I think Bob at Canada's boxing channel. Give him a sub. I think he's in California. He recently went to Sugar Ray Robinson's grave and put a photo of it on his channel. Older YouTuber, but knows his stuff. And like I say, some very, very good historical videos he's done. All right, what we got? Stuart says, "What's good, Joe? Looking forward to fight night." Yeah, why not? Yeah, I am. A lot more than Ben Eubank. I've got no horse in the race. I want it. I'm really worried about the weight thing. I know some people like this saying, "Oh, you're overreacting," but I've always thought it's a bad gig. But so long as the right people win, no controversy, no silly scoring, and there are some good undercard fights. Billum Smith and Brandon Glanton is looking a bit fruity, like a bit more than we thought it was. That's getting a bit funky between the two of them. And Vito Riley and Chev Clark. That'll be a good fight, I think. Liam Smith, what's he got left? Yeah, it's good. It's good. Thoughts on Ben? This is Stephen McM. Thoughts on Ben fainting after McClellan fight? Was it to dodge piss test? Ended up doing no post-fight drugs test. Well, this is claimed by Stan Johnson, McClellan's so-called trainer, who was about as much use as a fucking chocolate fire guard during that fight. Fucking terrible. He never trained a decent fighter before or since that tragic night. He made that claim. Ben, it was kind of a bit of an open secret on the scene at the time that he did like a little bit of I'm in ecstasy, if you know what I mean. And he certainly smoked cigarettes, and he knew some guys who, again, had extracurricular activities. He wasn't a squeaky clean guy, Ben. Fainting after the McClellan fight, I can believe that. It's one of the most extraordinary examples of durability that I can think of ever seeing in a boxing ring. So fainting, avoiding the drugs test. Maybe been tested before the fight, but nah. Anything's possible. If you make a statement like that, anything can be possible. You know what I mean? Thoughts on Bell? We've had that one yet. Charles says, should AJ retire? Do you know what? I think it's on his mind. I think he's thinking, I've done it. I've done what I set out to do. And he has done. He's been a 2-time unified champion and an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, people slag AJ off, but what he's done for British boxing is really, really impressive. Really impressive. So I like AJ. He gets a lot of shit, but I like him. Stuart, Sky was home of UK boxing. I booked tomorrow's fight on Sky Box Office. I should be watching by other means, as I always do on Joe Stunner Boxing. Benzens, Joe, I really enjoy your channel. I feel the fight is rigged towards Ben. Well, rigged. You see, you know my opinion on the conspiracy theorist mentality. However, things can be legally rigged in the sense that if you, this was the video I made earlier today. You know, you get what you negotiate. You don't get what you deserve. And if you drop a bollock and you allow it to be rigged, do you know what I mean? You allow it to be rigged, and so it becomes sort of, there's a legal bias, if you like. That may have happened, you know. I don't know. I don't know. But again, anything's possible. Anything is possible. Um, Rob Marr says, "Is anyone else getting the hump with Nigel Benn constantly chewing gum? Ditch the gum for interviews at least, doing my head in." Yeah. Isn't it weird though that Nigel, you can have a conversation despite all the horrendous punishment he took. He's not like walking on his heels like Tommy Hearns or Meldrick Taylor. You still understand him. Stuart, Hearn is a rich kid. People don't respect people who've had it handed to them on a plate. Yeah, I mean, that is, you see, definitely Hearn had a silver spoon. He was born with a silver spoon in his gob. But the argument can be made that he turned the silver spoon into a gold one through, and I think he is a very skillful promoter and a very savvy businessman, definitely. But yeah, he obviously had a big leg up. But so was Shalom. Shalom again from a very wealthy background, a very wealthy father. Andrew Gibbs just tuned in. Must be talking about Eddie. How did you guess, Andrew? Marco Rossi, looking back at Nigel Benn, I'm sure he was also eating lots of eggs. Yeah, and Marco, you're probably right, mate. You might be right. I mean, recreational substances, like I say, on the scene, if you hung around the scene, it was kind of an open secret that what he was up to, especially when you consider some of the people he would hang with who liked to act as salesmen for certain substances. Sure. You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? Hang on, let's get out of the way. Yeah. Henry Armstrong. You're not the Henry Armstrong, no, of course. Good name. Junior ruined Hearn throughout the whole promotion. Yeah, all that. Shut up, Eddie. You're not allowed to speak. It was funny. Opium of the masses. Are you referring to religion, sir? Yes, I tend to agree. You're referencing Karl Marx, of course. Essence Lost says. Stuart, religion is crazy, especially an old firm day. Yeah, I know what you're saying there, mate. Yeah. Oh, Striker 24.79, $5 is that? Thank you, sir. All donations are appreciated. You lovely people. Now, look, if you ain't got much money, don't go giving me money because I'm not after your money. This is just a good giggle. But if you're fucking rich, give me lots of money. Martin Hill says, "Love your work, Joe. Voice of reason." Thank you, sir. Thank you, Martin. I really appreciate that. Stuart, Nigel Benn was my idol. I was surprised when his manager admitted he ducked Michael Nunn. Yeah, Nunn would have beaten Benn. Nunn, in his pomp and circumstance, was a really good fighter. Stephen McM, you should do a collab with Porky's Corner. I know this channel. I don't think I've ever watched any of his videos, but I know Bob from Canada Boxing goes on Porky's Corner channel quite a lot. Like I say, I'll talk to anyone. I ain't fussed. As long as people are respectful, I don't care. I'll talk to anyone. Boxing Monkey says Michael Nunn was a killer. Yeah, he was. Tony loss was a huge upset. It was. And in fact, Tony was behind in that fight. And then he landed that enormous left hook. Bill Miller in Tony's corner was saying to him, "You're losing this fight. You're losing it. Go out there and get him." And he did. But that was a shock. Nunn was a very good fighter. He did Sambu Kalambe in a round, which was a bit of an aberration because Kalambe was never stopped before or since. And he was a very good fighter, Sambu Kalambe, based in Italy, African guy based in Italy. Let me see. There's a video clip of Duran schooling Nigel in sparring, probably the same time you were talking about. It might be. Reese Cooper says that. Yeah, it might have been. They did. Did they do more than one day? I can't remember. But it would have been 1987. That's when I was working near Chancery Lane. Yeah, I was working in Charterhouse Street. Stuart, Boxing Monkey. That must have been some fight. Yeah. Rob the old mongoose, Archie Moore, a boxing channel with parliamentary procedure. Yeah, I remember watching that originally when it was on telly, and you went, "Let there be some. Can we have some parliamentary procedure?" And Ben's face was like, "What are you talking about?" We were all laughing. Eubank was such a character because he always kept a straight face. You never knew whether it was, genuine eccentricity or whether he was playing a role. But yeah, I was a Ben guy. I was supporting Ben because he had that sort of rough and ready Fantastically entertaining style. But I like Eubank as well. He fought a guy, what's his name? Dos Santos. I think it's a Spanish guy. And he knocked him out in 23 seconds. 23 seconds, he knocked him out. And he was standing there just posing to the camera. And in the background, you could see the flawed opponent blasted out in 23 seconds, just on the floor, knackered. You know, he knew how to sell a fight. He did. Yeah. What we got here? Do you follow other sports, Joe? Like I say, I used to follow football. Used to follow tennis when I was a teenager. I liked tennis a lot. Played a little bit, but it's always been boxing for me. Always been boxing. Stuart says, Senior has always been an oddball. Hard as nails, though, 100%. Tough man. Very, very tough man. Boxing Monkey. Tony was struggling to make weight, and Tony had the way better career, but both beat Ben. Yeah. Tony at 160 was insane. I mean, he ended up at heavyweight. He was overweight, but you know, good fighter. I like Tony a lot. Yeah. What have we got here? Let me find my way. Every time I hit this sort of scrolling thing, it pings. What have we got here? I'm just trying to make way. Right. NSDB100 says the best boxing channel on YouTube. Thank you very much, sir. Or madam. Hope you have a great holiday, mate. Keep the videos coming. Don't worry about that. I certainly will. Rem says, I'm late to the live. You are more than welcome, my friend. Come on in. Rob Marr, do you think Arthur could potentially upset Yard tomorrow night? I doubt it. See, Yard's another one who I can't believe he makes 175 easy. But no, Arthur's all right. I mean, he's not a bad fighter, but I don't know. I always think there's a little bit of doubt in his mind when he fights. Even when he fought Liam Cameron, I mean, he floored him, and did he floor him? No, I'm wrong. Yard got floored in one of his. Arthur got floored in one of his recent fights, but when he fought Liam Cameron, he didn't look 100% confident. It seems as the rounds go on, he seems to unravel a bit. Stuart says, Boxing Monkey says, I think I'll have a look up the fight. Yeah. Nathan, what are your thoughts on anti-Kakache Lee Wood? I'm leaning towards Lee Wood. That's my first impression. Both have been inactive, though. Lee Wood more than Kakache. I'm glad Kakache had that sort of Indian summer of a career, winning the belt. But I think at the high, Lee's coming up, isn't he? Because he was struggling badly at feather. I lean towards Lee Wood, but I'll have a think about that one. Rem says, are you going to be doing lives often, Joe? If people want them, I'll do them. No worries. Yeah. Seemed like a good one. I was just bored. I thought I'll have another go at a live, and here we are. And all you guys are turning up. So much love. Right. What do we got? Ada Owen says, still think Eubank will get put on his ass. Will win. I think Ben will win. Will he win? So you're saying you think Ben will win? Yeah. The closer we get, the more I'm thinking you might be right. Julia, would any of you buy the pay-per-view for the Ben Eubank fight if you've only got your mobile to watch it live? I'm dog sitting at a house with no frills. Live watch-alongs just don't cut it, do they? Yeah. Well, Julia, if you've only got your phone on you, don't know. Depends how much of a boxing junkie you are. I know I am. Rob the Old Mongoose. I think Liam Smith stops McKenna. Stops him. I'd go for points, but yeah, maybe. It depends what he's got left, doesn't it, really? Gaz Hearsome says, I think Glanton will steal the show. Do you know what? Glanton's up for this. You see him interviewed, and it could be hot air, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think he actually lost to David Light. He had 2 back-to-back defeats. But I'm someone who thinks, okay, if you lose, that can be a learning curve. You know, you don't have to worry too much about it. But, yeah. Rem says, I watch and comment on every single video. Thank you very much, Rem. I always appreciate it, mate. I do, believe it or not, I do read all the comments. obviously I don't get a chance to reply to them all because there's not enough hours in the day, but I do read your comments if you leave them and hit the little like thing. Barak Amuti says Eubank has pulled a lot of antics to promote the fight while struggling to make weight. Can't also forget that he gave some money to the undercard of the cancelled fight. I hope he wins. Yeah. See, I don't think Eubank or Ben are bad lads. I think they're fundamentally decent people. You throw ego in there, and they are, after all, going to have a fight, because that's what this is. This is a fight. They talk about it being a boxing match. Yeah, it is, but it's a fight with parameters. And if you're going to fight someone and exchange violence with them, real, genuine violence. I mean, you look at Chris Billam-Smith against Ramirez. He looked like he'd been in a car wreck. He probably the trauma that he'd suffered was similar to being in a bad car wreck. Busted hand, all done up, stitches in the face, swellings. You know, man, it's hard money, isn't it? It's hard money. Alex Feller, deep down, Chris Eubank seems like a nice guy. I agree, Alex. Yeah, I like to see him get hurt. British board should really be stepping in before someone gets hurt. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. Yeah. What we got here? Stuart Ben. Ben was superhuman against McClellan. He got put through the ropes in the first round. Yes, he was. And Stuart, I had money on a first round knockout for McClellan, and I was counting my money because I thought Nigel just gets hits too much. He can't take the power. Ben, I mean, McClellan was monstrous. I mean, he was knocking people out in seconds of the opening round. Decent contenders at both middle. And he moved up to super middle to face Nigel, but Nigel was always a small super middle. And I thought, yeah, he's going to get rid of Ben quick. I remember the pre-fight interview, Barry McGuigan was interviewed, and he said, I think it'll be quick, and unfortunately, I don't think Ben will win. To the body, punches to the body from McClellan. He was a horrendous body puncher. And he had that killer mentality. If you've ever read a book called War Baby, who's it by? By Kevin Mitchell, not the fighter. It's a guy called Kevin Mitchell, same name. McClellan was a nasty bastard, quite psychopathic, quite a real, very. I mean, he was into dog fighting, and he would get stray dogs and throw them to his pit bulls to rip up and everything. He was a nasty fucker. But the film War, but the book War Baby is about the fight, the build up to the fight, and the fight itself. Good book. I mean, the way it's written is a bit floral. It's writing style I didn't particularly like much, but the content is really, really good. Okay, Boxing Monkey. Okay, we know why we are here. Top 3 favourite fighters, UK fighters of all time. For me, Ben, Jimmy Wilde. Favourite? Not necessarily best, of course. Ben, Jimmy Wilde. I'm not going to pick third. Probably Lennox Lewis. But you ask me tomorrow, it might be a different 3. Daz da God. Do you remember Nigel's rap song that yeah, I do. And Roy Jones released one as well. What was that fucking thing Nigel did? What was it called? Because it was something about a Dark Destroyer. And I remember the video when he's all kitted up and he's but you know, when he lost to Watson, right, he had that hairstyle. The day of the fight, he spent about 4 hours in the hairdresser's chair getting his hair done. Not sleeping or making sure he felt great, but sitting in a fucking chair having his hair done. Right. ZP, love seeing your channel grow, Joe. Been subbed since you're around 1K, and the content is always consistent. Respect. ZP or ZP, whichever it is. Thank you very much, madam. Much appreciated, as always. Who have we got here? Let's see. I think the fight negotiation has also exposed Shalom's inexperience. Yes, fair comment. That's from Bent Zens. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. But it's a learning curve for promoters and everyone else. That's life, isn't it? Aaron Linton Chambers. That's a very fancy name. Hi, Joe. I love the channel. This Ben versus Eubank fight is a mockery to boxing. I think that the British boxing Boxing Board of Control is not fit for purpose. They hold no weight or power. Well, they are. Yes, there is a point to be made about the fact that they are. They've been sued and they've been on the verge of bankruptcy over the Michael Watson thing. And do you know who bailed them out? Frank Warren. But I actually think the board does a lot of good work, especially with the safety of fighters. Rather ironically, because you can say that they're not looking after Chris Eubank Jr. Here, you can make that argument certainly. But following the Watson tragedy, the board secretary at the time, I think, was John Morris. And I met him once at a Mike McCallum fight. But he was, yeah, they sorted it out, and they put in place health and safety, very, very strict health and safety procedures that are actually the best in the world. They are, really are. But yeah, you're right. They are kind of toothless because they just haven't got the money. I mean, if one of the big promoters tried to sue them, they just wouldn't have the money to defend themselves. But we need, because it's such a dangerous sport, we need proper policing of it. And when it comes to safety measures, I mean, you can argue about that, how crap the officials are and how bad some of the referees' decisions are. I probably agree with you on that. But with regard to safety issues, I think the board do a pretty good job. So I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You say, people say, "I'll get rid of the board." What are you going to replace it with? You've got to have a plan, proper mission statement, proper plan in order to replace something. You just can't, look at the shower of shit we had in government. Sunak and that lot, we got rid of them. Who the fuck's taken over? 50 shades of beige. Fuck me. Meant to be a Labour leader. Oh, fucking hell. But, so you've got to have a plan in place. You've got to have something decent to replace the bad with. You can't just replace bad with bad. What we got? Everyone liked this video to help Joe, says Ben Zens. Thank you, sir. What we got? 67 likes. Nice one. Can I add my like to that? I'm gonna big myself up. No. Oh, yes, I can. Woo. Bit of self-love there. All right. Marco Rossi says, not only recreational, but peds. Do you mean Ben? Again, it's possible. Nigel, but yeah, it is possible. It's someone says, I think this happened. Okay, you may be right, but you have to provide evidence in order to confirm it. This is why I was so strict on Conor Ben. He, regardless of whether he knew that the clomiphene was in his system, and regardless of whether it was a masking agent or whatever it was, a cover-up agent, or brings your testosterone levels down slowly. I don't know a great deal about how PEDs work exactly, but he failed 2 tests. That's the bottom line, and Nigel didn't. So, there's always a grey area there. Like I would say to you, the best fighter I have ever seen, the most incredibly talented fighter of my entire life, is Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. failed a PED test when he fought Richard Hall. So, and James Toney failed a PED test. Where does it leave us? Are we all hypocrites? Is there an element of hypocrisy to us sometimes? Maybe so. Maybe so. Alex Feller, I'd love to see Edward and Benjamin have a proper boxing match. Eddie Hills, the 6-0 Iceman from Billericay on a comeback. Yeah, Eddie Hills. Yeah, I wonder if that's true. If he did have a few amateurs, he might have had a few little 390-second fights that the kids have. Rem says Porky's Corner is way too conspiratorial for you, Joe. You might go mad. Oh, maybe so. Don't want my head exploding. Adam, great to see you live, Joe. How are you? I'm very well, Adam. I hope you are too, sir. Stuart, I used to follow football and F1, but now I only watch boxing now. G-Man's a big F1 fan. He knows about that. And I've known a few. Weird enough, a lot of women follow F1. Maybe they fancy the drivers. I don't know. But I've known a couple of women who really love F1, know all about it, and they find it really exciting. To me, it just looks like fast traffic. But then maybe I'm just ignorant. Finally alive, says Alistair. Hello, Alistair. How are you? Did you ever get those magazines sold, Joe? That's Rab J asked. No, I didn't. No one wanted them. So they're still for sale. If I've got about fucking 500, 600, 700 magazines from about 2002. Boxing News, Boxing Monthly. If anyone wants to make me an offer, but you've got to collect them. I can't send them. They're just too big. I can't be asked to put them in freight and send them. So they're still sitting in boxes. If anyone wants them, give me a shout. Simon Bird, £10. I'm not rich, but it's okay as this is my wife's money. Nice one, Simon. You dirty. I was married once, so I hear you. I hear you. But £10 off Simon. Much love to you, mate. And I hope you're doing better. I know you were in hospital, weren't you, at Christmas time, but I hope you're getting better, mate. Excuse me. Why has Lee Wood been out for so long? Asked Reese Cooper. I don't know. He was interviewed in Boxing News about a month ago, and he didn't really give a comprehensive answer. He just said he'd been doing other things. A couple of fights fell through. I think he likes fishing or something like that. So he's just been chilling out. But yeah. Adam, who was your favourite tennis player, Joe? Well, one of the greatest spectacles I've ever seen of any sporting event was Bjorn Borg versus John McEnroe. It was a 5-setter. And you're going to ask me was it 1980, something like that, late 70s, and it was one of the most incredible matches I've ever seen. And yeah, there have been Federer and Nadal and Djokovic. They've had some incredible battles as well. But I'm going back to the era of wooden rackets, where people, it was a different gig. The technology of the rackets, these metal rackets, and they're bigger, and it's like they're firing bullets at each other. If you look at the sheer drama of the old school players, McEnroe, Borg, Jimmy Connors, I like that era. And there were some exciting sort of second tier players like Henri Leconte, the Frenchman. He was very good. I like watching him. The ladies, you had Virginia Wade, Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova was incredible player. So that's my era. Stuart said, I don't see anything other than a one-sided beatdown in Eubank versus Ben. Ben only has youth on his side. Maybe so, man. Maybe so. Alex, respect Joe. Respect to you, Alex. Big up. Leanne May Tyndall has given me £5. Thank you, madam. Leanne, much love to you. Me and my partner really enjoy your channel. I love the Eastern European Soviet-style GGG, Bivol and Loma are my favourites. Who are yours? Who are yours? Okay, well, I'm with you on the GGG Bivol sort of stuff, because they sort of mix a boxing with power, if you know what I mean. It's like, they might call it power boxing. Yes, I'm very much with you. I also like Japanese fighters. I think they slide under the radar of so many Western boxing fans. Some of these, and they're not just Inoue, but Nakatani is another famous one. But if you watch any of those Japanese, Mr. Honda is the promoter. You watch any of those shows, they're evenly matched. Great fights, really great fights. But because they're flyweights, light flies, bantams, super flies, they slide under the radar, and that's a real shame. Thank you for the £5, Leanne, and all respect to you and your partner. Glad you're enjoying the channel. Kyle says, rank the most talented from Tank, Shakur, Haney, and Teo based on talent. Talent rather than achievement. It's difficult. See, I think Haney gets a lot of crap, but he unified the lightweight division, and he went over twice to Australia to fight Kambosos to do it. He's never ducked anyone, Haney. Whatever you think of him as a person, his mouth and all that, but I think he's very talented. But his chin has always been a bit of a B- chin. Teo, great talent, but psychologically a bit wayward, a bit erratic. Tank wasted a lot of his talent. I always thought he was there to be beaten by the right person, because he starts slowly and he's often too precise. But he's a talented guy. Shakur, again, talented. Putting him in order, I can't do it, mate. Kyle, I'm not dodging the question. I'd have to really think about that. Yeah. Stephen McM says, thoughts on Hughie Fury? Wasted talent or never been? Is British title level his limit? Yeah, he's been British champ, of course. He beat a guy from Norwich. Can't remember his name now. Yeah, it's not going to come to me. But he's been a British champ, decent enough fighter. Hughie Fury, but what is he, 30 now? Yeah, I don't know. He's just sort of floated around, hasn't he? Hasn't really done anything. Apart from winning, he didn't even defend the British title, didn't bother with it. But he's fought world-class fighters. He's lost, but at the same time, he's never been stopped. I don't know. Do you know what I'd do? I'd go shit or bust and put him in with a Talma. I'm serious. We need to know how good Hughie Fury is. If he fights a Talma and he beats him, that puts him in the shop window. If he puts up a good fight, but a Talma takes him out, maybe gets stopped on his feet, he still gets some exposure. Do you know what I mean? He's just invisible, Hughie Fury. Stuart, I remember Hughie turned down an AJ title fight, said he was offered peanuts. Was he really? I don't remember that. You might be right. Rem, do you think Barboza could beat Lopez? Could he? Yeah. I'd lean towards Lopez. Just look at the Ortiz fight. Tio struggled a lot against someone who wouldn't engage and arguably lost. A lot of it's down to style, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he did. You could argue that he lost, though. Yeah, definitely. LRJD, love the channel. What do you think of GBM as a promoter? Do you think Shaquille Thompson or Hughie Fury have any future in the sport? I like GBM. Izzy as if's promotional. I think they've had some bad luck lately because they were going to do the Shakan Pitters European light heavy fight, but it fell through twice, and now they're rescheduling. It's going to be Pitters against Bradley Ray. I think that's a good fight. Brad Ray up at light heavy, though. That's a weird one. Yeah, middleweight to start with. But I do like GBM, yeah. Hughie, another one that underperformed, says Alistair Fraser. Yeah, I think so. Alex Loma, fantastic boxer, no argument. Great fighter. Great fighter. Stuart, being 16, 17-year-old Ben McClellan was the best fight I've ever seen. Yeah, it remains my favourite fight. Ben McClellan. Like I say, it was. I mean, I've told the story before, but I met some girl at a gig a couple of nights before the boxing. I was meant to go to it, the boxing, but I was, you know what you're like when you're young, your hormones are raging. And she said she was from Doncaster, and she said, I said, well, I'm going to the boxing. She gave me a number and everything. But I ended up going to where she was staying in London and watching the fight. And it was me, her mate, her mate's boyfriend, and some other girl. And I was just going mental. They must have thought, who the fuck is this geezer? He's mad. I suppose I was mad. What we got? Do you think Shaquille Thompson? Oh, you asked. Yeah, this is LRJD's. He also asked, do you think Shaquille Thompson or Hughie Fury have any future in the sport? Yeah, future, yeah. It depends what level you're talking about. I don't think they're untalented fighters. It depends what your goal is. Like I know fighters who've won area titles or British Masters titles, and they're very proud because they don't give them away. You have to go and earn them. And they knew they weren't going to be world champs, and they didn't make a lot of money out of boxing, but they're still proud. They still got their British Masters titles or whatever in cases on the wall. I get it. I mean, you respect these guys. They get in the ring. And if you grew up watching small hall boxing, which for a lot of the time I did, yeah. What we got here? Rem says Roy Jones' rap songs were actually quite good. They are still popular today. Are they really? I can't comment on hip hop, mate. Sorry about that, but I can't. What we got? This fucking thing keeps pinging. Where was I? I'm losing it. Right, Rob Marr says, is Eubank Sr. going to pull a major stunt tomorrow in an attempt to cancel the fight? You just don't know with him, do you? It's possible. I think he's in a bad place. I think his eccentricity always showed that psychologically he was erratic. I'll tell you a story about Chris Eubank Sr. All right. This is no word of a lie. I was in Piccadilly Circus in London. And this was going back to when Eubank was, I don't know whether he just retired, but he was quite late on in his career, maybe. But in Piccadilly Circus, you could ride around it, you could drive around it. Now you can't do that. They've changed the layout. But I was there, and then suddenly there's this big, and it was one of those big American rigs, and it was Eubank, and Eubank was looking out the window. Eubank is here, Eubank is here, and I was like, "Who the fuck?" We were all waving at him and everything. And this was before the internet, so you couldn't say. I didn't know why it was in London. I thought he lived in Brighton, which he did, but apparently he parked his. I don't know whether I'm confusing these two events, but there was something to do. He got into trouble somehow with this big American rig of his. And I think he parked it outside Downing Street or something. It was some war protest or something. Because we just thought he was driving around being a tit, and trying to pick people up. But yeah, that's Chris Eubank Sr. for you. He's always been a bit erratic, but now he's in a dark place. Will he try and pull a stunt tomorrow? He might do. Or he might turn up. I don't know. See, if he turns up, that would throw his son psychologically. There is a part of me that thinks Eubank Sr. does not want Junior to win. Families are complicated. Psychology is very complicated. Andy Hall. Hello, Andy. Long-time subscriber. A bit late, so may have been covered already, but did you see Groves on TalkSport pointing out to Eubank Sr. the flaws in his arguments? Eubank don't have any respect for him. Yeah, I've heard about this. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch this because several people have said to me about this interview that Groves was respectfully putting it on him, if you know what I mean, was doing what a proper journalist should do. I'm not saying Groves is a journalist. He probably don't consider himself to be a journalist, but real journalists should be asking the awkward questions. They're not there to make friends. Do you hear that, Gareth A. Davies? They're not here to be friends. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. What else we got? Dogs discussions. Hi, Joe. You are doing amazing. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Alex Fellow, I do find it very intriguing that Lee Wood has been out of the ring for over a year unless he's had injuries or contractual issues. It doesn't make much sense, especially at his age. Yeah. Sometimes people need some time out just to recharge their mental batteries as much as their physical ones. I don't know. Stuart, Joe Calzaghe said Eubank was the hardest fight he'd ever had. Eubank was a shadow himself by that time. Yeah, he was past his best. He twice lost to Steve Collins, and all those hard fights, because he had a lot of 12 rounders, even the ones he was dominating, he was doing 12 rounds. That's a lot of camps to do. And Calzaghe was very raw, put Eubank over early, but Eubank came back and really sort of turned Joe from being a boy into a man in terms of a fighter. Yeah, and Calzaghe's good. Calzaghe's very good. But Eubank, what a hard man. Dogs discussions. How do you like the Logan Paul fight at WrestleMania? I have no interest in Logan Paul. Is he fighting? Yeah, WrestleMania. What, is he fighting as a wrestler or is he fighting as a boxer? Oh, fucking no. I'm going for them YouTube people. They don't interest me. Grunt says the money Eubank and Ben are being paid here is there is no loser in the fight. You could say that, couldn't you? Yeah. Boxing Monkey UK fans took Eubank Senior to their hearts after the incredible bravery in the Carl Thompson fight. Absolutely. Both those Thompson fights were heavy duty. Heavy duty. I totally agree with you. Yeah. What we got here? Brannon Harries. I just looked up the Nigel Ben rap song. Sorry, mate. You might need counselling. I don't know. Joe Stuttard. Eden Boxing Gaming, is that? I can't get into F1. Nah, me neither. I'm not slagging it off, horses for courses and all that, but it never really did a lot for me, I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. Yasmin Malik says, hi, Joe. So glad I caught this live stream. Glad to have you here, Yasmin. Welcome. Erwin, you did it. Beginner's luck, Absimus Maximus. Good live, this. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for coming along. Charles, Gabriella Sabatini. Any stories, Joe? Never met the lady. Very pretty girl, though. Yeah, very pretty girl. She won a few Grand Slams, didn't she? Yeah, I liked her. Yeah. What we got here? Stephen McM. Lennox Lewis was excellent and avenged his two TKO losses. Yes, if Usyk had 2 KO losses, to the same caliber of opponent, would he be given the same pass? Nowadays, I don't think so. Well, I've always said a part of Lewis's greatness is that he did avenge those 2 losses, especially the Rockman one. To be knocked out like that and come straight back to take the guy to court to get him to fight you again, to honour the original rematch clause, and to then starch him like he did was very, very symbolic. To me, that was Lewis's best or defining moment, you might say, because it showed real mental strength. And I will say this for Eubank Jr. Being knocked out by Liam Smith and then going straight back in and stopping him, that was a good result. That did show that he has mental strength. We kind of knew that anyway, you know. What have we got here? Rem says, Joe, I think I have the most hearted comments from you currently on 650, if I recall. You are more than welcome to them, mate. Rob Marr, yes, they've ruined tennis with modern technology. Slam, bang, less rallies. That's right, mate, yeah. Big servers have such an advantage. Bring back wooden rackets. Well, yeah, I preferred it when it was wooden rackets. The rallies you're right about, yeah. You know, that's the rallies are what made women's tennis exciting as well, because they would have very long, arduous rallies. But yeah, that was my era for tennis. Adam, did you see Eubank Jr. in the face-off? He looked bad, and it's rehydration clause until tomorrow, 8 a.m., £10. Yeah, he did. I saw him. He had that gaunt, hollow-eyed look, didn't he? And I saw a few little interview clips. He was being asked questions as he was walking out of the arena, and he looked. He just doesn't look well at that way. I'm repeating myself here, but you get the. Yeah, the gist. Yeah, you get the gist. Irwin, Joshua, Fury, and Wilder were promised to dominate the heavyweight. Were promised to dominate the heavyweight division, but they are all in shadows now. None of them come close to Lewis or Klitschko. Joshua, Fury, and Wilder. Wilder, very poor resume. One-trick pony, but it was a lot of fun while it lasted. Fury. Weird thing about Joshua and Fury is I think Joshua overall has got a better resume, but Fury has got better individual wins. And I like both Joshua and Fury as fighters. I thought they were both very, very talented. They did their bit. They've both come to the end now. Fury will probably come back for a payday against Joshua. I mean, I think probably Joshua is waiting for that fight. But they've done their bit. Do you know what I mean? They're both good fighters. Both probably get into the Hall of Fame. And both made a lot of money. Win-win, isn't it? Who have we got now? Reese Cooper. Kenshiro is always in great fights. Absolutely agree with you, Reese. Terrific fighter to watch. Rob Marr. Love McEnroe and his tantrums. Oh, yeah. You cannot be serious. Yeah, I mean, he was... And Connors, Jimmy Connors, he would get into a lot of tantrums as well. Absimus Maximus says Jake Paul knocks out Canelo when they fight. What's he going to take with him? A baseball bat, a bazooka, shell him for 2 days and send in the infantryman? I don't think so, mate. I wish someone would chin Jake Paul. I'm so bored of hearing about him. And that Mike Tyson thing was revolting. 58-year-old man, crocked 58-year-old man. And then at the end, when Paul was sort of paying homage to him, you know, by cut the bullshit. You know, you made a lot of money out by slapping around an old man, someone that you wouldn't have lasted 15 seconds with in his pomp. Jake Paul. No. Who's he fighting next? Is it Chavez Jr.? Fucking hell. Enough said. LRJD, what next? Where next for Liam Cameron? Yeah, that's a good question. British level fighter, isn't he? But Frank was all right. I mean, Frank, I think, will stick with him. He'll probably get him some more paydays. I mean, if Liam could pick up the British title, he's been Commonwealth champ. So if he could pick up a British title at light heavy, but I don't fancy his chances against, you know, Buatsi, Callum Smith. I think he'd just get beaten up and stopped. Reese Cooper says, still think Loma beat Haney. Yeah, it was a close one. Very close. I think it was close. I mean, I can understand people saying they think Loma won. I don't think it was a robbery, overused word, but it was close. Absimus Maximus says 100% Loma beat Haney. Yeah, okay. Stuart, I would love to see to have seen AJ Fury and Wilder fight each other in their prime. Not now, though they're finished. I feel the same way. I'll watch it, but it's like when AJ fought Klitschko. I thought, I'm not that fussed about that fight. Fucking, what are you fighting Klitschko for? He lost to Fury and he hasn't fought for a year. And it was a fantastic fight, a really fantastic fight. So sometimes, it's like with Ali Frazier, the third fight that they have, they were both way past their best. But they produced one of the greatest heavyweight fights ever. Probably the best heavyweight fight I've ever seen. But they were both way past the best. I thought Haney won against Loma 115, 113. It was close. It was close, Rem. I agree with you, mate. Alex Feller, Huey is just boring. He has all right skills, doesn't do enough. A bit like Lyndon Arthur, just coast too much. That's not a bad comparison, yeah. Yeah, coasting is the word. Lyndon Arthur. Someone asked me about Lyndon Arthur earlier. Lyndon and Fury, Huey Fury, are the same. You can see there's the talent there. You can see there are gears they could go through, but they never really produce it. I mean, even when Huey's fought, Povetkin and who else did he fight? Pulev and Parker, those three defeats, he felt he didn't leave it all in the ring. He was just boring. Yeah, we've had that one. Absimus Maximus says Loma won. He thinks Loma won. Okay. Joe says Ed Owen. Did you rate Jim Watt? Yes. What, as a fighter? Yeah, good fight. I mean, he lost to Ken Buchanan earlier on in his career, but he learned from that. And he did beat good people. Sean O'Grady was a good fighter. I think he was undefeated at the time. And it took someone as brilliant as Lexus Arguello to beat him. So, yeah, he probably maximised his talent, Jim Watt. But he was a good champ. Very good champ. And he beat Olympian Howard. I can't remember his name. Gold medalist Olympian, won the Val Barker trophy. It's going to bug me that now. Can't remember his bloody name. Anyway, moving on quickly. Absimus Maximus, Clinton Woods versus Carl Froch. Well, one was a light heavy. That's Woods. Woods is pretty good. He made some defenses. Finally got one over on the tough guy. What was his fucking name? Names are leaving my head. Glenn Johnson. 3 fights with Glenn Johnson. Finally beat him after a draw and a win. I've drawn a defeat, but against Froch, I would favour Froch. I strongly favour Froch. Even Froch was even allowing for the weight, I think Froch gets Woods points probably. Deal 1983-01. Donald Trump has entered the chat. Hello, Donald. How are you, sir? Much love. Nathan, Maxie Hughes is on a GBM show coming up against Archie Sharp. I didn't know that. Yeah, I watched that. I like Maxie. Archie Sharp's good as well. Yeah, that's a good fight. It's a good fight. Jimmy says, stop by to give you a thumbs up on your live. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Jimmy General One. Is that your name? Thank you, sir. And Maximus says, Sharp wins. Maybe so. Simon Bird, thanks, Joe. I was finally discharged from hospital a couple of weeks ago. Slowly feeling better. Marvellous news, Simon. Thank you. Always good to hear you doing well, mate. Okay, where have we gone now? Oh, God. Keep losing my place. Okay. Absimus Maximus, hype job Caballero gets done by Chisora. No, I don't agree, mate. I don't agree with you. I think Caballero's fucking good. No, Caballero is a threat. I'd like to see him fight Usyk. I think the stars would gel very, very intriguingly. Stuart, Huey versus Dillian White. Loser retires. Do you know, I think Huey beats Dillian. I think Dillian's shot to bits. And Huey has got a pretty good jaw. Pretty good chin. Stephen McM, have DAZN replaced Costello with Adam Bean Smith as lead commentator? It's a possibility. I don't know. I haven't heard anything through the grapevine. But yeah, quite possibly. Robert Hutchins, evening, Joe. Great to see you going live. Any chance we can get a live rematch with you and the Ottoman? He's talking about this bed I put together, this fucking Ottoman bed. Jesus Christ, it was a nightmare. It took me and a work colleague of mine very kindly helped me do it, and it was like, honestly, I felt like Alan Turing trying to come up with some fucking code, putting an Ottoman bed together. Never again. Half the time I was trapped inside it, going, "Where the fuck am I?" Hype job Caballel. He just destroyed Zhang, says Stuart. Yeah, I agree with you, Stuart. I think Caballel is a very, very good fighter indeed. Joe Stuttard, long-term subscriber. Senior is going to come in to the stadium on a horse. Yeah, well, like Lady Godiva. Hopefully, he won't be fucking nude. Jesus Christ. Alex Feller, I wouldn't be surprised if it all kicks off between Eubank Jr. and Billy Joe Saunders in the training room. Yeah. Saunders was interviewed about that, but on IFL earlier today, and he said, "Yeah, I'll turn up. I'll do it." I was asked. I'm friendly with Conor Benz. Hayne Lane, thoughts on Bill Haley? Bill Haley? Do you mean Bill Haney? Bill Haley? What? Rock around the clock? No, you can't mean that. Bill Haney and his colleagues. Yeah, Bill Haney. Yeah. Nah. I'm not a fan of Bill Haney. He talks a lot of crap, doesn't he? Bruce Gass. Hello, mate. How are you? Salute, Big Joe. Much love to you, Bruce. You're still doing those fantastic lives that you do. Go over, everyone, and give Bruce Gass Boxing, Jazz and more a like. He's a great guy, terrific guy. Me and Bruce were on one of Boxing Beats and Rhymes hangouts, and Bruce knows a lot of fighters, and he got Tim Witherspoon to join the hangout. We were asking Tim questions. Fascinating stuff. Yeah, much love to Bruce Gass. Go over and give him a sub. Go on. He's a lovely fella. Stuart, Caballel looks like the real deal to me. Time will tell. I agree with you. I think he's really good. Caballel smokes Huey. Yep, I agree, says Joe Stuttard. Alex, Joe, your opinion. Jalilov will become a champion or not? Jury's still out. He went the distance, didn't he, in a recent fight about 3 weeks ago? Oh, it's too much. He flits between the amateur code and the pros, doesn't he, as well? I don't know. I don't like that. Got ability, but champion? No, I'll believe when I see it. Absolumus Maximus, Dave Allen would punch up Caballel. I don't think so, mate. Joe, your favourite knockout? Mine is the Azumanos knocking out Pat Cowdell. I remember that. I watched that live. Yeah. Yeah, one big uppercut, wasn't it? And Cowdell was out. And Cowdell had gone the distance with Salvador Sanchez, 15 rounds. And Azuma did him in the round. Azuma, I think, the greatest out of all African fighters. Marvellous fighter. My favourite knockout would be Tommy Hearns flattening Roberto Duran with that laser-like right hand. Extraordinary punch. I know Tommy was much bigger than Roberto, but no one did that to Roberto before or after. To see Roberto Duran flattened like that was incredible. And Roberto had beaten, I think that the Hearns fight was after Roberto had savaged, absolutely beaten the crap out of Davey Moore, who was never the same after that beating. Took his belt. But there's another good one that you should look up if you like good knockouts, and that is Wayne Alexander knocking out Takalu. He was about to be stopped on body punches, Alexander, and he produces this unbelievable left hook, which puts Takalu's head in the cheap seats. I mean, it's an incredible knockout. Go and see it. Wayne Alexander versus Takalu. Let's have a look. Joe Stuttard, I love your Gad impressions, Joe. Well, thank you. It doesn't sound like Gad, does it? It's more of like a grotesque. I'm just sort of taking the piss a bit. Someone said he sounds more like Jeffrey from Rainbow when I do it. That's probably true. Because Gad's got quite a deep voice, doesn't he, like that? And I'm sort of, oh, yeah. Yeah. It's all fun. Reese Cooper. I think it was a Sunsport interview, the one with Eubank Senior and Groves. Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, nice one. Stuart, my respect for Dave Allen went up after the Fisher fight, but he's got no chance against Caballel, none whatsoever. But I thought he won the Fisher fight. Definitely. Baba Dibopi? Baba Dibopi. Okay, good name. Hi, Joe. Do you think Hearn is behind the Billy Joe Saunders idea? I think Ben probably is. Ben and Saunders apparently get on quite well. So it might have been something that Ben pulled out of his arse. I don't know. Dave Allen gets knocked out inside 2 rounds by Fisher. says Absimus Maximus. Could be, I suppose. Fisher can hit quite well, but I was surprised at how bad Fisher was in that first fight. I thought that was a bit surprising. Dan W. Logan Paul done really well to beat AJ Styles on Sunday. Did he? Okay. Don't know that. I'll take your word for it. Ada Rowan, did he jump about on a tank? I don't understand your comment, Ada. Sorry. Jump about on a tank. Who are you talking about? I don't know. Giovanni Lumsden got an eerie feeling about the fight tomorrow. Something not right about it at all. Yeah, this weight thing is. There is. I know what you mean. There is a sort of air about it, which might come to nothing, but something's going to happen. I don't know what. Whether it's going to be someone gets chinned in a round, or the fight gets called off, or something happens. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Not at all. Right. Who else we got? Oh, strangely enough, Absimus Maximus says Conor Benn first round brutal stoppage. Do you know what? Something weird like that. I'd be like, so that's what was loitering in the air. Yeah. Hayne Lane, good name. Good name, Hayne Lane. Who would win? Zhang versus Ricky Marciano, Vitaly Klitschko versus Cabo. Zhang against Rocky. Well, Zhang is like 100 pounds bigger than Rocky. Rocky Marciano was a small guy, really a modern day cruiserweight, lighter than that. But Zhang's gas tank is so fucking awful. If Rocky got through the opening 5 rounds, he'd probably beat Zhang. Vitaly Klitschko versus Kabayel. Oh, that's a good fight. But Vitaly was a tough bastard, much tougher than his brother. I'll go for Vitaly in that one. Shannon Briggs versus Frank Sanchez. Best Shannon Briggs was. See, Shannon gave Lewis a good shootout. Shook him a bit until he got chinned, but versus Frank Sanchez, I don't know, man. A fit Frank Sanchez probably outboxes Shannon. But Shannon was, before he started taking all sorts of whatsits and building himself up, let's go champ, he was a pretty decent fighter. I'll probably pick Frank Sanchez to win that on points. Kevin Lorena versus Corey Sanders. Corey Sanders hit hard. I think he might beat Kevin. I like Kevin Lorena, but I think Corey Sanders might win that one. Ghetto Genius. Glad he come in over and hope he is over for final as well. Lose 2 million out of 10, but be strong and safe in the ring. Yeah, that's a fair point, mate. He was always going to struggle to make 160. Think he's silly to try to make it. I basically agree with that totally. Ghetto Genius said that. Yeah, you are a Ghetto Genius. I agree with that. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Eubank came over like a few pounds over there. Here's another million. Oh, instead of see, the funny thing is, Eubank held out for extra money, and they were saying, you know, well, he said you'll have to pay me this. If you want me to make this weight, you'll have to pay me that. And now he's paying it all out in fines, so he hasn't been paid extra money. This is where the negotiation, you need a skillful negotiator who can see every possibility. It's strategy. It's basically a mental war when you're negotiating. Again, you get what you negotiate. You don't get what you deserve. A-Scarp, apologies if already asked. Any chance of live commentary on fights? No, I don't know, mate. Maybe if people wanted it, I'd do it, but I don't know. I don't know. Me commentating on fights? I don't know, mate. Do you really want to hear that? I don't know. Why? You know, you tell me about. Let's have a couple of comments on commentators. Who are your favourite commentators at the moment, and who really do you really not like? I'm curious to know. I know that Costello gets a lot of heat. A lot of people don't like Costello, but I really liked him when he was on radio. But then radio is different to televisual commentating. Yeah. Jupiter Moongage. What a lovely name. I hated McEnroe, John McEnroe. I gave up watching tennis when he showed up with his head game bullshit. Yeah, he was a bit of a cunt, wasn't he, McEnroe? Let's be honest. Stuart, where's that British fighter? Where's a Ball fighting next? I like watching him. Yeah, Nick Ball. He hasn't got a fight scheduled. He's been calling out Inoue to move up to feather to face him. He is a very entertaining fighter, Nick Ball. But Inoue is going to stick around. He'll fight you. He'll fight an all Japanese fight against Nakatani, probably. Massive, biggest ever fight in Japanese boxing history. Rob Marr, do you have a prediction for Eubank versus Ben tonight? Yeah, I did a video for this, and as I said then, I do not say this with any confidence, especially now with the weight thing, which is even worse than I thought it was. I said Eubank would win on points, but it could be anything, mate. It could be anything. Will Billy Joe Sausages make a comeback at cruiserweight? Who cares? I'm so over him. I never really liked him when he was fighting much. Rem says Peter Fury will still probably be going on about Hughie Fury needing to get his man strength at 60. Yeah, it's taken a while, isn't it? Ghetto Genius, think Connor going to stop my guy because he drained out of nothing. Yeah, could be. Rem says, I discovered your Joe Stunner music channel a while ago. I like that song that you made. It was interesting. Which one, mate? I've made fucking hundreds. The music vid was good too, says Rem. Oh, Austerity Cage. Yeah, that was the last music project I did. It was called the Austerity Cage. I did an album. And I've got several, about five, 6 songs from the album are on Joe Stunner Music, if you want to have a listen. Selena. Hello, Selena. Joe, do you know anyone in or who was in the mob? Well, what mob are you talking about? I certainly don't know anyone who was a made man in the mafia. I know people who have done naughty things in Britain. Where they are at the moment, I don't know. But I mean, when I used to put it this way, when I used to go to the boxing at the York Hall and other places when I was young, you'd see a lot of faces sitting ringside, and you kind of knew who they were, old mobsters from the 60s. And the guy who was the timekeeper for many, many years was Nipper Reed, who was a former member of well, I think he was Flying Squad, but was he? No, he wasn't Flying Squad. He was at Tintagel House, Scotland Yard, and he was the guy who caught the craze, Nipper Reed, and he was the timekeeper. You'd see him, a little fella, real little fella. He used to box when he was a young guy. Yeah, you see faces around. Boxing and villains have always kind of gone together. Like I was saying about Nigel Benn, you know, a lot of the Essex boys. You know, you heard the story about the Essex boys. Look at Nigel Benn's fights. A couple of them were walking into the ring. You know, he was very good friends with one of them. I can't remember the name of the guy who was killed. One of the ones that was killed. But yeah, boxing and the mob. Hayne Lane, Caballero beat Chisora, didn't he? Yes, did he? They fought, didn't they? In Monte Carlo? Is that the one? Or am I thinking of someone else? No, I'm thinking of Pulev, Chisora, no? I can't remember. Ghetto Genius, Caballero versus Usyk, slow down. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think that's a curious fight. Style-wise, think about it. I wouldn't rule out Caballero. And I'm a big, big fan of Usyk, massive fan of Usyk. Pierdeep Singh from the US. Joe, you're one of the best British analysts. Like what you do, mate. Thank you very much, Pierdeep Singh. That's very kind of you to say so. Thank you for your support. James, really glad I found your channel, Joe. Keep up the great content. James, you're a gentleman. Thank you very much, sir. And there's Bruce Gass again. Don't forget, give him a sub. Great fella. Thank you for your kind words, Bruce. Pierdeep Singh, Glanton versus Billam Smith. Great fight, unknown outcome. Does Vidal have as much an amateur pedigree as Clark? Yes, I think so. Seems like Clark is the puncher and Vidal the boxer. Yeah, generally speaking, I think Vidal wins that fight. Younger by about 7 years. They've had roughly the same amount of fights. And I like Chev, you know. He's been in some terrific fights, but I think Vidal might outpoint him. Glanton versus Billam Smith. Very, very intrigued by that fight. I like the vibe I'm getting off Glanton. It can be a false dawn, of course, but yeah. Boxing Monkey, smash the like before you go, folks. How many have I got? 88. Lovely jubbly. Thank you. And there's 70 in the building. 70 people. This is an off-the-cuff live. I didn't even advertise it, and you're all turning up. Brilliant stuff. Thank you. Bivol versus Opataya, great fight. Yeah. I don't think Bivol. Do I honestly think Bivol will go to a cruiser? He's too small. And Jai's kind of good at cruiser, you know. I like both those fighters, though. They're really, really good. Put them together. I wouldn't object. Stuart says, best knockout for me was the one-arm Danny Williams. Yeah, when his shoulder come out and he knocked out Mark Potter with one arm. Amazing. Danny Williams, so sad what happened to him. You look at his record now, he's got about 33 defeats on his record, about 18 by stoppage, because he's been fighting on a Latvian license and a Lithuanian license and all this shite, and getting stopped in, you know, school gymnasiums. He's just picking up paychecks to fund his, I think it's his daughter's education, private education. And he's losing to people that he would have chinned in around. You know, the man who beat Mike Tyson ends up, you know, losing a 4-round decision to some fucking bum. It's such a shame to see him like that. But he had real, on his day, he was a good fighter. Danny Williams, good heavyweight. So, what else we got here? Rem says, do you like TV shows like Dragon's Den or The Apprentice? No, I don't watch I don't even own a television, mate. I don't own a television. I subscribe to Netflix, but no. I've never seen Dragon's Den or The Apprentice. I don't like Sugar, that little fucking pygmy. I don't like him at all. Or Lord Allen, as they call him now. Lord Allen sounds like a fucking Doctor Who villain, doesn't it? Fucking Lord Allen. Hayne Lane, do you remember me when I left a comment on your Q&A video? The Gareth videos are amazing and really kind to feature. Well, who knows? Maybe Gareth will have something to say about Ben Eubank. We'll have to see. It'll have to be when I come back from my holiday. I don't know. Maybe I could take the outfit with me. Boxing Monkey, best KO win. Poor old Errol Graham got knocked out in Spain. Yeah. Do you know what? I won money on that. Yeah, Harold. No, it was Jackson, wasn't it? He had a detached retina and he couldn't get a British border control. British border wouldn't let him fight, so they went to Spain, and Harold completely outboxed him and was shut in that bad eye. And then Harold got a little bit too funky, went in for the kill. Bang! That's all she wrote. Spark out. Yeah. Smash the like button, folks, says John B, and show some love for Joe Stunner. God bless you. Bless you, sir. Bless you, sir. Let's have a look. Lost my place again. Where am I? There we are. David say, hey, had some good knockouts. Yes, he did. He most certainly did. That was off Stuart. Robert Hutchins, all of you put 20 quid on the draw, 20-1. Yeah, draw. Yeah. I don't know. It's unlikely, but stranger things have happened. Elias Kilminster. Kilmister. Joe, good to see you, mate. Been watching for 3 years now. Just got back from the pub. Cheers, lad. You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Hope you had a nice Friday night. Bill Caveni, the thing is, they are both adults and agree to the clause. Yes, they did. You're right, Bill. You're right. John B, the best boxer both Roy Jones, James Toney ever saw was a man called Salvador Sanchez. Yeah, brilliant fighter, Mexican fighter. A lot of people say he's the best Mexican fighter of all time. Now, I base those judgments on longevity, and because he died so young, I think he was 23 when he was killed in a car crash. Yeah, he was a brilliant fighter. I've never disputed his greatness, but he was denied the longevity because of his early death. So I don't know. I've always said Chavez Sr. is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And people say, yeah, but he fought a load of cab drivers. Well, there were, but interspersed, because the reason he fought a lot of no-hopers, Chavez Sr., is because he fought a lot in Mexico for his people. So he would take these non-title fights against lesser opponents so that people could pay, $10 to watch him fight. Otherwise, to watch him fight, Meldrick Taylor or Pernell Whitaker, there's no way they could see him fight for that money. So he would take non-title fights for the fans, and that's why he's got a lot of lesser fighters on his record. You could argue it is a padded record, but if you look at the contenders he beat and the champions, Chavez Senior was a great, great fighter. He really was. Right, where are we now? Hayne Lane says, I really like Barry Jones on commentary. I do. Barry Jones was doing some of, they had that Grand Prix boxing tournament in Riyadh. Was it last week? Barry Jones was doing commentary on that. And they were a lot of like 4-rounders, 6-rounders, that sort of thing. He is very, very good. Very, very good. Hello, Crazy Dan. Thanks for coming along, mate. John B. Joe Stunner would make a great commentator. Respect. Thank you, John. I don't know whether I'd make a good commentator. I might swear a bit too much, I suppose. Ghetto Genius. Dev is the worst. Dev Sandwich. Yeah, I mean he's Frank Warren's lad, and he's employed by Queensbury, and yeah, I find him a little bit, his banter a bit forced, a bit dull. He seems all right. I know people that have met him, and they say, "Oh, he's a really nice bloke." So I don't want to slag him off too much. Richard the Fifth. Barry Jones is a great analyst. Paulie's great too. Yeah, Paulie's great. Paulie is a great commentator and really knows his stuff. And really, what I look for in a commentator is like a color analyst. Is if I'm watching a fight and someone says something and I go, "Oh yeah, I didn't notice that." And Paulie does that a lot. So does Barry Jones. He explains what is happening, without just filling the air with waffle. A bit like I'm doing now. What we got? Grunt says Adam Smith is totally overbearing and dominates the commentary panel. Yeah, I like Adam as a person, but he was never my favourite commentator. Yeah. James Albrecht, the best boxing commentator besides Guttridge is Ian Dark. Wish the zone broke the bank to get him from BT Football. Ian, you talking about Ian Dark? Yeah, he was good. Him and Glenn McCrory, wasn't it? Together. John B. Joe Stunner boxing looks like he can box a bit. He possibly could have been a contender back in the day. One of my greatest regrets is not really going for it in the boxing thing. I sort of went towards music instead, because music doesn't hurt so much. You don't get punched in the face. Could I have been any good as a boxer? I have fucking clue. But I wish I had done it. See, I've always had bad eyesight. And back in the day, if you had very bad eyesight, Frank Bruno actually had to have a detached retina repaired. He went to, the hell was it? It was he went east to one of those countries in the east to have it done. And this was in 1980 or something, late 70s, early 80s. But you couldn't get a license if you had bad eyesight. You could have the operation to fix your eyesight, and then you might get a license. But I've always been, up close, I'm no problem. Anything beyond 10 feet. I mean, I'll bump into lampposts and apologise. It's blind as a bloody bat. But I love the game. I could box a little bit. Could I have been any good? I might have been okay. I don't know. I don't even know. This is why I wish I'd done it. So all you younger fans out there, if you want a bit box, do it. Because when you get older, if you haven't done it, you think, I wonder if I'd have been any good. It sort of haunts you a little bit. Right. Stuart says, I don't usually listen to the commentary, usually listen to a stream. Yeah. A lot of people. I think that's quite a new thing, but a lot of people are going for that. Hayne Lane says, who wins? Makhmudov versus Johnny Fisher. Makhmudov. Michael Bisping versus Zhang. Michael Bisping? Zhang? What, in a boxing ring? Zhang, I suppose. Joe Pataya versus Michael. You mean Michael Moorer? Joe Pataya against Michael Moorer. Okay, that's a left field one. Jack Johnson versus Makhmudov. Well, again, Johnson, the Galveston Giant, by today's standards, he wouldn't be a giant. He'd be not a small man, but he wouldn't be considered a giant, even though back then he was fucking enormous. I can't even predict those. I suspect Do you know what? Mora might outbox Opataya, but Opataya, I'd go for Mora over Opataya, but I can also see Opataya beating Mora. Johnson versus Makhmadov. Johnson. I'm gonna go for the old fella. John B. I'm 74 and still waiting for my old man strength to show up. When you say your old man strength, old man, that's not a euphemism. Andy Hall. Are Nick Ball and Dubois the only current world champs that are British? Not many considering the power the British promoters have. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. And also we see British promoters promoting Americans and other fighters. I mean, Frank signed, I can't remember the name of the kid. Young, what is he? Ukrainian heavyweight? Oh, I forget his name. Stuart says, what are your thoughts on the egg slap, Joe? Was it deserved? I understand why he did it. I think Connor took a bit of a liberty when he went up to Eubank just after the weigh-in for his previous fight and put it on him. So yeah, it was, and also, yeah, it's all silliness, isn't it? I'll tell you what, though, it took 5 security geezers to hold Connor. Connor's not a big lad, but he was wriggling and writhing around trying to get away. Come here, you bastard! And they had their hands full. He's got fire in his belly, Connor Ben. Hopefully that's all he's got in his belly. Nothing naughty. No failed test, Connor. No. Look at the finger. No. John B. It's amazing to think Nigel Benn hung around with the Essex boys. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Look at the ring walks. You see a couple of them there. One of them he was friendly with. I can't remember who. I can't remember the guy's name. Bill Kearney. Tony Tucker was the Essex boy who was a minder for Ben. Was it Tony Tucker? Okay. Yes, he was a minder. They knew each other, didn't they, from way back when? Yeah. I'm just reading through these. Bill Kearney. I hope McKenna wins the fight against Smith. Yeah, could do. John B. Not sure Pat Tate was a minor for. Oh, Pat Tate. Yes. Where's Lee from Inside the Distance? He knows about this. I have seen the documentaries. I just can't remember the names. Yeah, Nigel Bent. Yes, that definitely rings a bell. Like Pat Tate. Yeah. Stephen McM. Costello was terrible on the zone. Adam Smith brings some unintentional comedy. I like big Ronald McIntosh, but he's vanished. Yeah, where is Ronald McIntosh? Come on, man. He's all right. I liked him. Yeah. Bill Kearney. Nigel was naughty. Yes, he was. Do you remember he used to have the old Ministry of Sound logo on his trunks as well? If you know about the Ministry of Sound, you know what went on. Stuart, Danny Williams was top UK heavyweight for a while. Yes, he was. Yes. Very hot and cold. Psychologically, he was quite he was quite erratic, I suppose. He pulled out of one fight at the 11th hour, and I mean literally a couple of hours before the fight, he pulled out. And he reckoned he had a panic attack or something. He was a strange cat, Danny Williams. Did things his way. But, Big Chief. Hello, Big Chief. Danny Williams lost to Lee McGregor. He did, yeah. That was a career lightweight. You're right. And he stopped him as well. Lee McGregor stopped Danny Williams in an unofficial fight. Can you believe that? Yeah, that is a fall from grace, isn't it? This is real serious stuff. Lee McGregor stopping Danny Williams. Fuck me. Rem says, I don't know how I stay awake for these American fights, Joe, and I'm only young. I can't function the next day. I try my best. Yeah. I normally take a few energy drinks. Sometimes I'll have a kip for an hour or two before the big American ones. But when I was younger, the Mike Tyson fights, for example, they used to be on ITV, free, none of those pay-per-view bollocks. And you could see them about 5 a.m. And of course, I recorded them on old VHS tapes, but all free. Mike Tyson. All right. Simon Bird, a big part of me wants to see Chris Senior recreate the Fan Man incident. Oh, Christ almighty. Yeah, I watched that live. That was one of the ones I was just talking about. Bo Holyfield, when the Fan Man came in and landed on the ropes. I thought, what the fuck is happening here? It was unbelievable. And I was spitting nails because I was recording the fight on an old VHS tape and it was running out. It was towards the end of the fight. And I thought, this bastard, this Fan Man, because he's taking up time, my tape's going to run out before the end of the fight. But it didn't. Fortunately, I managed to get it all on tape. I've still got it somewhere. John B, you can see Tony Tucker as part of the entourage escorting Nigel Benn to the ring for the McClellan fight. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think other fights as well. There was a few faces there. Thoughts on Nigel Benn sharing sparring stories, says James. It's all much of a muchness. I don't really care about it. What else are you going to say? Conor was getting pasted, you know, by Denzel Bentley or whatever in sparring. He's not going to say that, is he? So it is what it is. Ghetto Genius, silly Nigel, stop talking crap about sparring. You should know better. It means nothing. Losing respect for him in this build-up. Well, I'll always respect Ben, but yeah, I think you're right about the sparring stories. It's just piss and wind. It doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything. Stephen McM, thoughts on Carl Froch interview with Ben? He's getting pummeled by the hardcores for asking softball questions. No mention of PED failures. Carl Froch isn't someone I've really taken to. First of all, I find the sound of his voice boring. And also, I find his banter very dull and predictable. And also, this is a lot of also, isn't it? For the reason you've just given. You know, you can talk tough, or you can talk whatever the word is, I don't know, controversially or whatever word you want to use. You can do that behind a computer screen. But if you're serious about it, you need to get stuck in. And when you've got someone in front of you, you've got to ask them the questions. And it doesn't really surprise me that Froch didn't do that. I find him rather dull, Carl Froch. I'm not his biggest fan. Good looking misses, I'll give him that. Talk about punching above your weight. Stuart, I think there'll be animosity after the Eubank Ben fight finishes. I don't see them shaking hands. Yeah, you're probably right, mate. Probably right. I think this is genuine dislike. And I don't really understand why Ben would hate Eubank. But maybe Eubank has an air of superiority like his father used to. Like I say, I don't care who wins. I just want the right man to win. That is the man who performs best. You know. Who else we got here? Tom Zabli. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I do like a bit of Bunsey. See, Bunsey's extremely knowledgeable. Extremely knowledgeable. But he kind of... There's a lot of hyperbole with him. He likes to... First of all, he doesn't seem to realise that there's these things called microphones, so he has to shout all the time. And everything's got to be dramatic and hyped up and the best thing I've ever seen and all this sort of bollocks. But he is knowledgeable. If you read he hasn't column in Boxing News every week. He comes up with some really interesting stuff. Yeah. I met him a few times, Bunsey, at the shows. He's a nice enough fella, but just turn the volume down a bit, mate. Please. Please. Pretty please. What have we got here? John B, I love Jost on the Boxing Channel. It's right up there with the Hat Man for me and deserves even more followers. Thank you very much, John B. Thank you very much, sir. Hayne Lane, who wins? David Haye versus Anthony Yard, Liam Smith, Gervonta Davis. David Haye versus Anthony Yard. Haye, I'd go for. Liam Smith, Gervonta Davis and Liam Smith. Well, he's too small for him, isn't he? Frank Bruno versus AJ. That's a good one. I like that one. I think Bruno might get AJ. I don't know. Tommy Robinson versus what? Tommy Robinson, Stephen Yaxley Lennon against Daniel Dubois. I think Dubois would win that. I think he's at His Majesty's pleasure at the moment. Poor old Tommy. Never mind, bless him. Joe Joyce versus Francisco Pianetta. Got to be Joyce, isn't it? Francisco Pianetta. Dillian White versus Charles Martin. Yeah. Hayne Lane, it's fascinating hearing your opinions on different random matchups. You are like a wise wizard. Not really. Not the Wizard of Oz because he's a fake. Oh, thanks, mate. Right, the Essex boy that walked Nigel out is Tony Tucker. Hope you're well, Joe. Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. Carnage AFC 84. Nice one, mate. Cheers. Ghetto Genius, what town do you live? At the moment, I'm in Peterborough. And I stay there for the simple reason that it's easy access to London and it's much cheaper than London. London is unbelievably expensive. And I will go back there. I will live there again. But I've got a job that's based in Peterborough. And whenever I want to go to London, which I do quite a bit, I just jump on the train because it's a straight line to King's Cross. 50 minutes, you're there. And it's just cheaper. I mean, fucking hell. I couldn't have afforded to buy a place. I bought my flat that I'm in now, but I couldn't have afforded a place in London. But I will. I'm working on it. I'm going back there, definitely. I want to sort of spend my retirement years. I want another 10 years working, and then I'm going to retire and fuck off back down south. Yeah. By the way, Peterborough's a shithole. Fucking hell, what a carsy. Joe Stono, what do you prefer, Breaking Bad or The Sopranos? Breaking Bad. Now, The Sopranos I've never watched. I've seen a few episodes and I just couldn't get into it. And I know this is sacrilege because a lot of people love The Sopranos. I think it's one of the best TV shows ever. I would say that Breaking Bad is. First two series of Breaking Bad, you're thinking, okay, it sets the scene. But once we get to the third series, and certainly the fourth, Breaking Bad is astonishing television. Brilliantly written, beautifully acted. Andy Hall, as you're a magician, Doe, what are your favourites? You strike me as a Steely Dan type of guy. You'd be wrong on that one, Andy. I know very little about Steely Dan. I mean, I like lots of things, but 50s rock and roll and the first generation of punk bands, probably my go-tos. But I like a lot of bands. If I mention the bands I like, the Clash, the Smiths, the Sex Pistols, the Cramps, anything beginning with the, really. But rock and roll, proper rock and roll, filthy rock and roll. Not rock. Rock is a pale imitation. Rock and roll has got to have sex and swagger to it. And that's my sort of thing. Rem, in my day-to-day life, I'm quite bored 90% of the day, so I always refresh the page, see if you've updated, Joe. Cheers, Rem. Yeah, nice one, mate. I hope I'm keeping the boredom from the door at least a little bit. Rem, as for Carl Froch, arrogant and absolute hypocrite. I think there's something to that. Stuart, I like Froch the fighter, but don't like his personality. Yeah, I agree with that. Very good fighter, but I don't care for him. I don't find him entertaining. And also, didn't he say the earth is flat? Is he trolling or is he serious? Because if he's serious, he's a fucking moron. John B, I think Joe Thunderbox's first live broadcast gone very well indeed. Yeah, it's all right, John. It's a bit of a laugh. I just thought, I'm bored. I'm going to try and do this live thing again, and I use my laptop. This is my work laptop. Don't tell anyone. Bill Kearney, Bacoli claimed he could take everyone, then loses to Early versus Parker. Yeah, I think that's probably because he was way out of shape, wasn't he? Did he borrow gloves from Daniel Dubois to fight against Parker? That kind of sums it up, really. Bruno barely beat McCall. AJ would do him. Yeah, maybe. John B says, Bunce, that's from Stuart, by the way, that comment. John B says, Bunce's voice gets on my nerves. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. John B, Froch versus Calzaghe. One of the ones everyone often talks about. I would go with Calzaghe on points. I think he'd be a bit too busy. A bit too busy, yeah. Bill Kearney, do you think White, Joyce, and Chisora are done or not? White is definitely done. Joyce close to it. Chisora has been done for ages, but sheer willpower and toughness is getting him these wins. Um, yeah, White's finished. White's shot. Joyce, nah. Chisora, I wish all three of those would retire. To be honest, I don't have a great deal of you know interest in watching any of those three. What I would do if I was Chisora, I'd go for the White fight because I think he'd knock White out and then call it a day. But they've got him as a mandatory for the IBF. But then I think it's been finalised that Dubois will face Usyk in a undisputed fight, so that supersedes the mandatory. Yeah. Hayne Lane, I'm a 55-year-old woman from Belfast. My favourite Irish fighter is Conor McGregor, but Paddy O'Donovan's great. Yeah, Paddy O'Donovan's good. I like him, yeah. Very, very good fighter. Very unfortunate in that recent fight as well. Rem says, what's your favourite section of history, Joe? World War II, for example, and why? Yeah, you see, I was very close to my grandparents who were adults during the Second World War. So that whole World War II thing, I'm just putting my slippers on. That World War II thing definitely is a big deal to me because they used to tell me about it. And like my mum was born in 1938 and she would, because she was only a little girl during the war, my nan taught her how to knit and she would sit under the kitchen table knitting while the doodlebugs, the V1s would come over, you could hear them. And then when the engine on a V1 stopped, you were holding your breath because you were thinking, is it above me? Because it's going to fall. Now, sometimes they glide, depending on the weather, they glide and go down and explode that way. Or sometimes they drop vertically. And if one was above you, your house was gone and you were gone. But my old mum would be knitting away under the kitchen table, not a care in the world. Fucking bombs going over the top. Little family story for you there. All right, what have we got next? World War II is fascinating, though. I mean, the story of Hitler, bear in mind that in 1920, well, no, before that, let's say around about 1912, for example, Hitler was born in 1889, I think it was. So 11. Yeah, if you consider when Hitler was a young man, late teens, early 20s, he was living in a homeless hostel in Vienna, the Mannerheim. And he was making a few pennies by painting postcards and selling them to tourists. Totally potless, totally directionless. And then 30 years later, he was ruling most of Europe. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm not saying this is wonderful. Hitler was one of history's most horrendous criminals, but it is a fascinating study in what Hitler called the triumph of the will, how you can rise and become great through sheer willpower, even though you're a totally venal person. Stalin is another example of an extremely vile man who, historical figures interest me. Napoleon, if you read about Napoleon, fascinating character as well. Yeah, I like history. It's very interesting. I'll tell you who knows a lot about history is G-Man. Talk to him about history. He can tell you all the kings or fucking he knows every era. He's really into history. Very knowledgeable about it. What have we got? What else we got? Stuart Kawasaki dropped his belt to avoid Frox. Chesil. I don't know about that. I think he was moving to light heavy, wasn't he? He wanted the people from his era, which was Hopkins and Jones. And I think that might be pushing it a bit, saying he avoided Froch. They were almost different eras, and Froch brought nothing to the table at the time. There was no financial rule, and Kawasaki knew he was coming to the end. If Froch had been a little older or Kawasaki a little younger, maybe they'd have got it on. Hayne Lane, thoughts of Barbara Streisand? She was my favourite musician. Also, who would win? Francesco Pianetta versus Safiri. Francesco Pianetta would win that fight. Barbara Streisand, yeah. Oh, Barbara, yeah. Bit of an actor for a while as well, wasn't she? Yeah, she sort of dominated for years. I remember going to the cinema when I was a kid with my nan to watch Barbara Streisand in A Star Is Born with Chris Christopherson in the male lead role. Yeah, she's all right. Barbara Streisand, she's all right. John B. Lacey did take a beat down from Calzaghe. Fuck me, he did, yeah. Yes, he did. Definitely did. Never the same again. Hayne Lane and Ngannou versus Zhang. Well, Zhang should win it, but that gas tank is fucking terrible on Zhang. He's just awful. John B, do you play any musical instruments, Joe? Yes, I do. I play guitar and I sing. I'll try to. I play bass as well, but just basic perfunctory stuff. But guitar is my thing. I got good when I was 16. I got decent when I was 16. I've got a collection of guitars as well. My favourite, I've got I've got 4 Gretsch guitars. Gretsch is my favourite maker guitar. I've got 4 of them, and they're not inexpensive. But I have got others, cheaper but less obvious ones. I've got a few acoustic. I've got an electric acoustic. I've got amps. My bedroom's just full of amplifiers and guitars, amongst books, CDs, DVDs. I'll never throw anything away. I'm like a hoarder. You can see, look, I've got shit here and over here. I need a bigger place. Better buy that lottery ticket, I suppose. Stephen McM, favourite politician, George Galloway or Jason Rees-Mogg? Neither. I mean, George, I wouldn't trust him as far as he can throw him, although I do agree with him on a lot of things. Rees-Mogg, what does Rees-Mogg know about working class people? What does he know about anything? He's like a Charles Dickens character from a Victorian era where, Jacob Rees-Mogg is kind of little Lord Fauntleroy, isn't he, grown up? Reese Cooper, how crazy is it that Harry Greb had 52 in a year and 4 months? Yeah, Greb, yeah. Greb, I think, is the greatest middleweight of all time, as much as I love Marvin Hagler. And my grandfather loved Marvin Hagler. See, my grandfather would tell me stories about Rocky Marciano and Joe Louis and all the great fighters of old. And for him to like a modern fighter, this is at the time when Marvin was fighting, the guy had to be good, because my granddad was like, "Oh, he's fucking terrible. Oh, so and so would have beaten him. Oh, he's no good." But when Marvin came along, my granddad was like, "That is a real fighter." He was right, but I still think Greb was the greatest of all the middleweights. Incredible fighter, one of the best in the world. No, well, of all time. I mean, definitely. Hayne Lane, spend 100 days alone on an island with Gareth A. Davies. Or with a rabid tiger. Oh, Gary, you can imagine 100 fucking seconds with Gareth. At least the tiger would eat me, kill me. Dubois would hurt Chisora. You're fucking right, Bill. Bill Kearney. Yes, he would, mate. Let's have a look. Well, yeah, this thing keeps pinging. Yeah, Dubois would. Gaz Hearsome says Pula versus Chisora 3. No thanks, mate. No. Dell gets a winnable enough fight for a regular strap. No, I'm not interested. Boring fight. I thought Pulev beat Chisora a second time round, by the way. Andy Hall, this has been a really enjoyable stream, Joe. Thanks for it, mate. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for turning up. Tushin Ranch, if you read this comment, you will be cursed. Stop reading. From the ghost of Timmy. All right, mate. You've had a good Friday night, haven't you? With the old booze. Stuart, Chisora surprised me by beating Joyce. Dubois would beat him worse than he beat AJ. Yes, he would. I think so. John B. Napoleon suffered from short man syndrome. He invented it, didn't he? Stuart Jones was 40 years old. Hopkins was 43. Plus Kozagi waited until the last day to vacate and avoid the mandatory froch. Okay, yeah. Fat Jesus, Trump versus Starmer. What, in a fight? Hopefully they chin each other. Double knockdown. Double knockout. All right. Double hospitalization. Hergovich versus Parker next. They did fight as amateurs with Philip getting the win. Would be a fun fight, I think, says Gaz Hearsome. Hergovich versus Parker next. Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah. Yeah, be a good fight. Be a good fight. I think Parker's been a little bit unfortunate not to get a shot, but it's not over for him yet, is it? What else we got here? Joe is very knowledgeable on many subjects. Seems to me very impressive. Thank you, John B. Very kind of you. Hayne Lane, would you rather have prosthetic arms or legs? Prosthetic legs, because my legs are fucked anyway. The prosthetic legs would probably be better than my current legs. I used to love walk. I do love walking. Walking all over the place. Whenever I go abroad, it's walk, walk, walk. I'm not a beach person at all. But my legs are getting fucked now. I'm just getting too old. I've got too many miles on them. But prosthetic arms. Now, I saw this thing on the telly. It was one of those morning shows, Good Morning or something. And there was this kid on there. She was about 19 maybe. And when she was a little girl, like a little baby, she had her arms amputated because she had meningitis or something that affected whatever. And she was there with this guy who was into robotics, this genius, whatever. He seemed like a genius to me. And she had prosthetic hands and they were moving. She could move them. And she unscrewed one of them, put it on the table, and she could still move it. Just by thinking about it. Robotics, technology, this is absolute science fiction. From when I was a kid watching science fiction, I never would have thought that technology would be this incredible. It's absolutely extraordinary. What else we got? John B, if you had to guess what guitar if I had to guess what guitar, I would say a Gretsch 6120, Brian Setzer style. 100%, John. I have got one of those Setzer 6120s. I had it imported from America. It cost about 1,500 quid 10 years or so ago. Yeah, I love it. Setzer is my favourite guitar player out of all. And I love Brian May of Queen. I love Steve Jones of the Pistols, and Mick Jones, John McGeoch of the Banshees. I love these, but Setzer he plays with power, precision, and a lot of style. And that guitar is a thing of beauty. It wasn't the first Gretsch I bought, but it is. I've used it in gigs. I've used it at gigs, and it's just a wonderful guitar. Yeah. Bill Kearney, Hagler and Roy Jones are my favourites. Yeah, me too, mate. I love both those fighters. Stuart, Hagler was some fighter, RIP. Wasn't he just, mate? Wasn't he just? John B, I'm a big fan of James Toney. Yeah, defensively brilliant. That Philly shell thing. One of the things that Tim Witherspoon said when I was on Boxing Beats and Rhymes podcast, and Tim was on there, someone asked him about the Philly shell, and he said, that's a pretty new thing. He said, we used to call it just shelling up. But the Philly shell, with the protection of the shoulder on the jaw and, the hand load to protect the ribs and all that's something that came along later. And Toney was extremely good at that. See, James Toney had quite slow feet. That's what let him down. Montel Griffin outpointed him twice. But Toney's defense was fucking unbelievable. Fucking unbelievable. Yeah. Rem says, I'm not slept for 47 hours and my eyes are closed. Impossible to fight. Get some kip, mate. Get some kip. Don't overdo it. Hayne Lane, it's been great. Thanks for putting up with my questions. Side note, be Gareth A. Davis or have Gareth as your roommate. God. Nah, I'd have to suffer him as a roommate. I wouldn't suit the hair and the glasses and the big Kawasaki. Rem, I need to stay awake to watch the full stream. All right, mate, if you want. Giovanni Lumsden, on the Kraken tomorrow night for boxing, starting with a couple of Guinnesses. Yes, nice one, mate. I'm not a drinker, right, at all. I never have been. And I used to work with a lot of addicts, drug addicts and drinkers and people who did both. And that sort of even steeled my attitude towards alcohol. I don't mind. I'm not teetotal. I'll probably have a cider tomorrow or some shit like that. But yeah, I'm not a big drinker, mate. But yeah, I get it. A few Guinnesses. Nice. Stuart, I like Parker as he but he gets too much credit for beating old men like Chisora, Wilder, and Zhang. He's not beaten prime fighter. Yeah, yeah. I like the way he's rebuilt from the knockout of Joyce, but I'll take your point. I'll take your point. Tushin the Ranch. I told you to stop reading. I'm the ghost of All right, mate. No worries. John B. Playing guitar with prosthetic arms might be difficult. Yeah, good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. You're right, mate. Could always try and play it with my feet, I suppose. Wouldn't it? Hayne Lane, you suit sideburns, Joe. Would you rather work on an oil rig or work in the sewage pipes? Oil rig, dangerous gig. I knew a bloke years ago. I knew a bloke who did the oil rig thing. Nah, not for me. That's hard graft. That is. Joe B says Brian Setzer with the Stray Cats is one of my favourite electric guitar players of all time. Yeah, he's magnificent. Magnificent. I remember I bought a tutorial like a DVD years ago of Brian Setzer teaching you how to play riffs and stuff. And it depressed me because he was so good. I'm like, I'm never going to be that fucking good. I mean, I learned some decent stuff, but it's, yeah. Right, Stuart, how many weight classes did Tony move up to fight Holyfield? I thought he was a middleweight. He started at middle, went to super middle, won belts to middle, super middle, got beaten by Jones widely. Roy Jones beat him widely. And that was classed by the bookies as a 50-50 fight. I was amazed. I won money on that because I put big money on Jones to win. Because I thought he's going to have too much for Tony. Tony's too flat-footed. Then Tony moved up to light heavy, lost twice to Montel Griffin, moved up to cruiser, beat Vasily Girov? Who did he beat? Who was that Russian guy? Brilliant performance at cruiser, won a belt, and then he moved up to heavyweight. Kind of amazing, really. Hayne Lane, do you got girls from Belfast? I'm currently eating treacle off of that. Hey, I've met some good people, good Irish people from Belfast. Yeah. John B. Tony went from middleweight all the way up to heavyweight. Yes, he did. He would fight anyone of any size. He was even calling out Lennox Lewis, wasn't he, John? Remember that? Lewis is a bum. I'll take him. All this sort of thing. Username 1, I've been winning this fight. Let's remember how bad Canelo and Ryan looked under the same clauses. Yeah. Hayne Lane, have you ever watched the TV show MASH? It's amazing. I've never seen it. I know all about it. It used to be on when I was young, but people love it. But for some reason, I never saw it. Stuart, John B. I just remember seeing the highlights of Tony sparked him out. Yeah. You talking about Tony Chinin Nunn, was it? Oh, okay. What have we got now? Bill Kearney. Jeff Healy was blind and played on his lap. I saw. Yeah. Well, being blind, you can play if you're blind. Once you get the feel of the guitars. Different guitars have different feel, but yeah. Raymond says, I want to go to America someday, Joe. Do you have interest in it? Yeah, I lived over there, mate. I lived in Alabama when I was married to an American lady. I moved over there in 1988 and came back 4 years and 3 months later. But I didn't just stay in Alabama. I went to all the southern states, but we also made our way up to Maryland, and we went to, I've been to New York, for example. And yeah, go over there. It's good. It takes some money with you, but it's all right. I liked it. A real culture shock. It kind of kickstarted my life moving to America, getting married to an American, moving to America, because suddenly my life was totally different, and I realised I'd been in a real bad rut previously, but it was a long time ago. Weirdly enough, I'm still friends with my ex-wife. We exchange emails. I haven't seen her for over 20 years, but we're still on very good terms. Probably better terms than when we were married. That's often the case, isn't it? Rem, I misread your comment, Rem. I thought you said America. You said Antarctica. Do you have an interest in it? Oh, yeah, Antarctica, not America. Sorry, I misread your comment. Yeah, Antarctica. Too cold for me, mate. Have you read the Captain Scott South Pole Diaries? That's a fascinating book. And there's a very good biography of Robert Falcon Scott as well by Ranulph Fiennes. Too cold for me, mate. Too cold. When I was very young, I had a little Ladybird book, like look for for kids, that was about Captain Scott and his doomed trek to the South Pole, and that stuck in my mind. Too chilly for me. -50, getting chewed up by frostbite and starving to death. No thanks, mate. No thanks. But yeah, wonder what's lurking beneath the ice. That's a very good point, mate. It's a very good point. You've been watching The Thing, haven't you? Great movie, The Thing. Love that movie. My favourite sci-fi. One of my favourite sci-fi movies. Hey Lane, quick few questions. Christian Hammer or Ebenezer Tete? Fucking hell. Draw. There you go. Giovanni Lumsden, you think something bad could happen in the fight tomorrow night, someone being hospitalised? Do you know what? It would not surprise me, mate. It would not surprise me. Hayne Lane, Chris Billam-Smith versus Joshua Buatsi. Well, Buatsi would have to move up, wouldn't he? My immediate instinct says Billam-Smith, but I want to see what he's got left after that Ramirez battering, because that is the type of battering that takes years off your career, hopefully not your life, but yeah. Rem, not read that before. I'll definitely check that book out. Yeah, yes, go have a look at it, mate. Hayne Lane, Nikolai Valiev versus Magmadov, Charles Martin, Dillian White. What now? Martin will beat White now. Nikolai Valiev and Magmadov. Valiev probably. Magmadov, a front runner. Valiev was limited, but size of the man, what is he, 7'2" or something? Hayne Lane, what are your thoughts on the Katy Perry rocketing and taking up space? I read about this. Yeah, look, why are they picking on this Katy Perry bird? I mean, there was about 5 of them in space, wasn't there? Has she said something really embarrassing, which is not beyond the realms of possibility? But someone once said to me, the kindest thing I can say about Katy Perry's music is that she's got really great tits. And you know what? She fucking has. Yeah. Katy Perry. I couldn't name. I can name one of her songs. The Firework. Plastic Bag Blowing in the Wind. Where are we? Hayne Lane, favourite insect? Ant, because I like Adam and the Ants, punk band from the 70s. Chris V, hello from New York City, Joe. Love your content. Thank you, Chris. Much love, mate. New York City, great city. Haven't been there for years, but do you know my biggest regret about New York City is it's 96 when I was there. I went into the World Trade Center and I said, they had that big concourse, didn't they, with all those sort of trident windows. And I went up to the receptionist. I said, can I go up to the observation deck? And she said, well, you can, but there's zero visibility because the weather's crap. So I never went up there. I wish I had done now, because it would be something to say. But I went into the World Trade Center. Yeah. And I lived over there when it happened. Not in New York, I was in Alabama, but 9/11 was horrendous. John B, it's nice that you mentioned the guitar player John McGeoch. Very good guitarist, but not well known. John McGeoch was brilliant. Marco Pironi of Adam and the Ants, I loved him as well. Feedback King. Yeah. Hello, Timmy Turner. You all right, mate? His douche geezers off his tits. Please answer me. Hello, Timmy. What do you want me to do? You want to do a seance or what? What the fuck? Born in 1312, whatever the fuck it is. Bill Kearney, polar bear and -50. It's like, yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, no, -50. No chance. When I was in Poland once, I couldn't sleep, and I thought there was a Tesco down the road. They have Tesco in Poland. And I thought, this was February. So I thought, I'm going out, I'll go get something to eat and go down to Tesco. So I put my jacket on, gloves. When the doors of the hotel opened, the blast, it was like -15. And I was like, fuck that, I'm not going out there. I went straight back up to my room. Oh, it's freezing. -50. You imagine -50. -50 is where you take a bucket of boiling water. If you throw it up in the air, by the time it hits the floor, it will be ice. That's how cold -50 is. Yeah. Stephen McM, is Spencer Oliver the most knowledgeable pundit in boxing? I mean, when he manages to string 3 words together. No, he's not. I liked him as a fighter. Good, honest fighter. European champ, but no. He's like the Norman Wisdom of boxing, isn't he? Rem, I would love to work as a Firewatch tower man. Just chill in the forest, watch the sky all day. Hopefully, no fires or I'll be useless. Yeah. Yeah, you want a job where you don't actually have to do any work. Bronny James, CBS versus Brandon Glanton. Very interesting fight, Bronny. The closer we get to it, the more I think Glanton is a threat. Because I thought I picked CBS to win on points, but again, I want to see what he's got left. I'll stick with CBS on points, but an upset wouldn't surprise me. Hayne Lane, they're against Katy Perry because she said nobody will feel love until they launch. Easy for her to say. She got paid 150K. Also, she's doing it to promote her tour. Okay, mate. Now I know. Giovanni Lambston, you heard of Jeff McGovern, the Deporto La Coruña manager? No, I don't know who he is, mate. Sorry. No. Why'd you ask me that? Chris V, what's your favourite movie ever? Mine is Alien 79 or Warriors 79. Yeah, both of those are good movies. I watched them. Alien's great. Warriors, yeah, I remember that. Warriors, I saw that on VHS, right when VHS was becoming a big thing in the early 80s. A mate of mine actually had a video recorder. You got a video recorder? Oh, wow. And I used to be able to rent tapes. And the Warriors was one of the ones we rented. There's like after school on a fucking Friday night, we'd all pile around his house and watch the video. It's good fun. My favourite movie of all time is Lawrence of Arabia, which is a masterpiece, 3 hours long. David Lean directed it. T. Lawrence, played by Peter O'Toole. Who else is in it? Alec Guinness is in it. Omar Sharif. Great fucking film. Great fucking film. Just majestic. Other favourite movies would be Network, which is as vital today as it's always been. It's about the media and satire, how the media controls people. Brilliant movie from 76, I think it was. Taxi Driver with De Niro as Travis Bickle will be a favourite. What else would I put in there? Heathers, the most darkest teen comedy ever. I love that movie, Heathers. That's great. Barry Lyndon, which is a Stanley Kubrick movie. Clockwork Orange is a very, very different type of movie, but a great movie. There's loads of them, isn't there? Loads of good movies. Heat with De Niro and Pacino. That's a masterpiece. Yeah. I could talk about, maybe I should start a Joe Stunner Movies channel because I love movies. I watch a lot of shit on Netflix, TV series. I'm well into the Korean stuff that's on Netflix. There's some of their TV series are fucking fantastic. Yeah. Let's have a look. Simon Bird says Timmy Turner can hopefully now rest in peace. God bless Timmy. Who wins, lion or tiger? The age-old question. You see them at the zoo, them lions and tigers, they're scary. They are fucking scary. I think maybe the tiger wins. What do I know? As long as they both make the weight, of course. Hayne Lane, where would you rather live, the Congo or Honduras? I've never been to either. But based on what I know, I'd probably go for the Honduras area. But I've never been anywhere near either. I know people that have been there. I used to work with a guy who's from the Congo, actually. Just reading through this. Splasham SNM says Glanton in 6 rounds. That's an interesting call. Maybe so, mate. Rem says Alien's an incredible film. The atmosphere is outstanding. Yes, it is. Real claustrophobic, brilliant film. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, Rem, I saw that when that came out in the cinema. I didn't know what to expect. They made about 4 of them, didn't they? But the original one, I saw it in the cinema. And That was a sort of Friday or Saturday night gig with some friends, and I was, like, really impressed. I thought it was a great film, really good film, and then it's diminishing returns because they make all these fucking sequels and some of them are crap. It's like one of the best horrors I've ever seen. Perhaps the best horror is The Exorcist, but some of those sequels are dog shit, absolute dog shit, and yet the original film was absolutely incredible. Once they start the exorcism, it's like watching a fight. Brilliant, brilliantly acted. William Friedkin was the director. Very, very good director. Made a lot of good movies. John B, you are going to be exhausted after the live stream, Joe. You will sleep well tonight. Well, I will. What's the time now anyway? Oh, it's 5 minutes past 1. Fucking hell. Yeah, I'll crash out. I'll have a lazy Saturday, watch the boxing, and then in the early hours I'll be off to Stansted to fly out. But it'll be all right. Hayne Lane. My name is Hayne Lane because my first name is Hannah and the second name is Laney. Hayne Lane. I get it. Okay, that's cool. Hannah Laney. Hannah Laney. Hayne Lane. I met a woman when I lived in America called Rhonda Fonda. That's a good name, isn't it? Rhonda Fonda. Bill Kearney. Alec Guinness. Yes. Alec Guinness was in Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah. What else have we got here? Thoughts on Ice Age the movie? I've never seen it, mate. Hayne Lane. I've never seen that. It's Chris V. I love Heathers too. It's in my top 10. Winona Ryder. Yeah, what an astonishing beauty she was. Fucking hell. That is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Winona Ryder when she was young. She still looks good now. She's in her 50s. She's in Stranger Things. She plays the mum, doesn't she? And she was in Beetlejuice. Still looking great. But back in the day, when she was in her early 20s, fuck me, that was an incredibly beautiful woman. What have we got here? Giovanni Lumsden. Usyk Parker should be happening. No point in Dubois again. How many times does he need to cuff these Brits? Yeah. I think it might be closer. Usyk Dubois second time round. I don't know. Yeah. Chris V. I'm Honduran. Oh yeah, okay, mate. What are the odds? All right, nice one. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate that. Tell me about Honduras, Chris. What do you love about it? John B, I can envisage Joe Stunner living in Honduras at some point. I'll give it a go, yeah. While I've got some time left. Rem, I still get scared at night after watching horror films. Need to prepare myself before I do. I was like that. It's like when a bunch of us watched Exorcist, right? It was no word of a lie. It was like we were at fucking a mate's house. And the first 40 minutes of Exorcist is kind of creepy and eerie, but it's not scary as such. You're waiting for the exorcism, and then the kid gets possessed. And we were sort of spread out all over the room. I remember the guy whose house it was sitting on the floor eating his dinner off a plate, and I was sitting on the sofa, and there were a couple of birds there as well. And then when the exorcism started, all of us suddenly piled onto the sofa like a bunch of fucking pussies. I mean, we must have been 16 maybe, but what a bunch of kids, eh? And then I had to walk home in the dark. Oh, I ran. Don't make no mistake about it. I ran. Oh my God. I'll probably still run. Hey Lane, please do more lives. Where are you off? We're all going on I'm going to Albania, mate. Tirana. Hayne Lane, Rose McGowan's gorgeous too. Yeah, Rose McGowan, I remember her. Yeah, I remember her. Bit of a scream queen, wasn't she? Stuart, it's good. The boxing is UK time. Them late nights are murder. Yeah, they can be strenuous. End up falling asleep and missing the main event. You got to pace yourself, mate. Get a few energy drinks in, bit of coffee or whatever your gig is. Bill Kearney. Alec was in Star Wars, but he didn't think it was a good movie. Yeah, Alec Guinness was in Star Wars. He played Obi-Wan Kenobi. And see, I've never been a Star Wars fan because I saw that original Star Wars movie in the cinema. I was 10, so I was the right age for it. And I thought it was all right. I thought, that's right, but I didn't think it was particularly great. I'd seen better. I don't really understand the whole, cult of Star Wars. It's weird how popular that's been. But Alec Guinness was interviewed by when that film came out, he was interviewed by Michael Parkinson, and Parkinson said, "Oh, you've had this great success with this thing called Star Wars," and he said, "Yeah, yeah, it's popular in America. It's basically a western in space." And I read the script and I thought it was all right. But he did it. But the thing was about Alec Guinness was they said to him, you know, we can't pay you what you normally paid, but we'll give you a percentage of the profits. And of course, he made fucking millions and millions just off having a couple, like 3% of the profits or whatever it was. So he got a good gig. But a little boy came up to him once and said he'd seen Star Wars 11 times. And Alec Guinness said to his mum, "You want to stop him from watching that? It's not healthy to watch a movie that much. The kid's obsessed." And it upset the mum. Right. Alec was in Star Wars, but he didn't think it was going to be. Yeah, yeah. Rem says, "Give us your most beautiful women list, Joe." Fucking hell, that's a long one. Winona Ryder's at the top, like I said. I'll stick to modern women, modern actresses and all that. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is very beautiful because she's got a very unusual look. Like her eyes are kind of alien eyes, far apart, and she's got a very unique look, and she's a great presence on the screen. Anya Taylor-Joy. Karen Gillan is the best of the redheads. She's beautiful, gorgeous looking. Jennifer Lawrence is a very good looking girl. Very funny as well. See her interview, she's always a good giggle. Seems like a nice down to earth girl. There's loads of good looking women out there, aren't there? See them walking down the street. Well, not in Peterborough. Fucking Chav City, Peterborough. But go to a decent city. I'll tell you what, when I went to Prague and Kiev are the two cities I've been in with the most beautiful women. Absolutely stunning. It's like you're walking down the street, there's all these women walking around you, and you're thinking, these have I just stepped into Vogue magazine or something? Gorgeous women. Yeah. Yeah, I'm too old for them though. They're not too young for me though. That's the thing. Oh my god. I think Dubai beats Usyk in the rematch. Usyk's getting old. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It is possible. At some point, there is a tipping point where a fighter becomes too old and the other guy jumps in and is in the right place at the right time. Giovanni Lumsden. Did you like Sandra Bullock in Demolition Man back in the day? She was some bit of stuff in that movie. Yeah, good-looking woman. And then she made that mistake of having all that plastic surgery shit, which I hate. That's it with young girls today. I've seen so many good-looking girls, and they get all this lip filler and all this shit in their face, and they just look like a load of wax and tattoos all over the place. And I sound like an old cunt, and and there's a reason for that. I am. All right. I'm American, Honduran, Salvadorian, says Chris V. I haven't visited either two, but hopefully one day at least we have Tiafimo to fight here in the States. Yeah. Hey Lane, are you going on a solo holiday? Did you win the lottery? You like your solo holiday trips? I haven't the courage. Yeah, I've always go abroad, almost always. I've been abroad with girlfriends and stuff, but most of the time I will travel alone because it's my way because of the job I do, it can be a bit emotionally strenuous. I work with vulnerable adults and you see some things. And certainly when I used to work with addicts, you need a break. And I would just go to a place I've never been before that wasn't too touristy, wander around and just because no one knows you, you don't know the culture, it's all new. It's like, and you clear your mind, your mind just all the cement comes out of your ears, and finally you've got a clear mind, and it gives you a perspective on what you're doing, and you can relax. And it's almost like mindfulness. It's therapeutic traveling. Like when I went to the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, brilliant. I fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Good looking women there too, in the Baltic states. Right. Oh, I didn't win the lottery, by the way, Hayne. No, I didn't. Rem, when you arrive in Albania, Joe, look for Florian Marku. Yeah, where is he? Where is Florian Marku? Locked up for 7 years for possession of firearms. Oh, Christ. I'll send him a fucking cake with a file in it. Hey, Lane says, Johnny Depp was handsome, weren't he? Yeah, he was. Good-looking boy. And he went out with Winona Ryder, the lucky fucker. He's been out with some good-looking women, Johnny Depp, but then he's a handsome fella. So. Giovanni Lumsden, Dawn Swan in EastEnders was tasty. Cara Toynton, I remember her. Yeah, I used to watch EastEnders back in the day. Yeah. She won Strictly Come Dancing, didn't she? Was it her, Cara Toyton? John B, will you play your guitar for us one day in a live stream? If you want, yeah, can do that. Hey Lane, I love Sharon Osbourne. She was and is stunning. Sharon Osbourne? You think so? Right. Rem, play us some Stairway to Heaven, Joe. I'm trying to learn it on guitar as my first song. No, you're trying to run before you can walk. I learned Stairway to Heaven back in the day. I can't even remember how to play it. But the ones I learned, the first two songs I learned on the guitar when I was about 16 were Streets of London, the Ralph McTell song, and House of the Rising Sun. They are very good songs to learn if you're learning guitar to start with, because there's a bit of finger picking involved and the chords are basic, you know. But learning to play Stairway to Heaven as a first song might be a bit much. Stuart says, I like Mila Kunis. Yeah, she's nice. She's a good looking girl. Rem, I agree, Joe. Lip filler stuff is horrible. Who likes that? And fake eyebrows too. Yeah, it's fucking terrible, mate. Don't like it. Hayne Lane, what's your position on non-binary gender? It doesn't exist. It's a concept. It's a fabrication. It's quite infantile and a little bit, well, it's narcissistic. It's some nonsense, really. Doesn't exist. Bill Kearney, Dubois has not improved. It's just no one apart from Usek who put it on him. I think he's improved. Mentally, I think he's improved anyway. But yeah, Bill, I'll take your point, mate. John B, nobody wants to end up with a trout pal. Yeah, you're right, mate. I can't stand that shit. Giovanni Lumsden, Mila Kunis is friends with Benefits Stewart. Friends with Benefits. Mila Kunis. Yeah, she's quite an exotic looking girl, isn't she? I like her. What we got? Chris V, my current celebrity crush is Georgia Smith and Chapel Rowan. I don't know these ladies. They get me going. I'll have to look them up, mate. I don't know those ladies. Give me some names of films that they're in. I'll go and have a look. Hayne Lane, what do you do when you go away? I've been thinking about it, but not sure what I would do. I just chill out. I go walking. I look at history, the culture, go for a meal, go to museums or art galleries, or just chill. Do what the fuck I want to do. I don't have an itinerary. I take a little travel book, look through it. Oh, that looks interesting. I'll go and have a look at that. And I'll just go wandering. I've always done that. I've done it for years. I like traveling alone. I have been abroad, you know, with other people, and I've lived abroad and so on. But traveling alone is my thing, really. Yeah. Stuart, I'd give that Amanda Holden one as well. She looks good for her age. Yeah, but she's had work, hasn't she, Stuart? A lot of work, so I hear. Yeah, good looking woman, but to be honest, the stuff she's had done isn't too bad. I mean, it's not like Katie Price, you know, where she doesn't even look human. But I don't like fake breasts either. They never feel real. They never look real, to be honest with you. What else we got here? Jennifer Aniston was beautiful. Sharon Osbourne has a beat for me, though. All right, Hayne, off you go, love. Giovanni Lumsden, what about Jennifer Love Hewitt? Jennifer Love Hewitt, yeah, God, I remember her. Rem says, what's the most underrated fruit? I think it's lychee. I don't even know what a lychee looks like. Underrated fruit. Oh, you got me on that one, mate. I don't fucking know. Hayne Lane, Mia Khalifa is beautiful too. See, now she's a nice looking girl, but she's actually got these big fake tits and they look stupid. But her face is all right. John B, I agree that lychee is very underrated. I've got to check out these lychees. Is it lychee? Is that how you pronounce it? Lychee. So I've got to look up lychee and I've got to look up those two girls that someone mentioned. Right, okay, I'll make a list. Better bring a pen and paper next time. Right, where are we going? John B, you will end up looking like lychee if you eat too many of them, yeah. I'll give Pat Butcher one for the team. Love the big earrings. Yeah, she's all right, Pat. John B, fake breasts never feel quite right. You're absolutely right, mate. It's like you're dealing with those. It's like they got dog toys in them. You know what I mean? Chewy thing. Oh no, fucking. You don't sound convinced by Sharon Osbourne. She gets compared to Skeletor, but that's not right. Hayne, each to his or her own, my love. I don't care. Chris V. Joe Stunner's Birds. Channel next. Tempted. Very tempted. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to knock it on the head now. But thank you all so much for coming along. 103 likes. God bless you all. I better knock it on the head now, though, because it's knocking on a bit. Was it 20 past 1 now? But if you made a super chat or whatever the hell they're called, you give me some money. God bless you. Thank you very much. Love you all. All right. And we'll do this again sometime because it's good cracking it. Okay. Over and out. Enjoy your weekend. And don't forget, boxing tomorrow. Look out for the review videos as well, of course, as well. I'm going to do them before I shoot off to Albania. Much love.